6:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Patriots are AFC champions once again after defeating the Broncos 10-7 in a heavy snow-filled second half after a 5-play, 59-yard drive ending a Cortland Sutton touchdown on the Broncos' second drive of the game. The offense stalled and had just 32 yards of offense in the second half. Patriots quarterback Drake May threw for just 86 yards but had 65 yards on the ground and a rushing score. Quarterback Jared Stidham, in place of injured Bo Nix, threw an interception late in the fourth quarter, icing the game. The Seahawks are NFC champions after beating the Rams in a 31-27 thriller. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold threw for 346 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, outlasting the potential league MVP in Matthew Stafford, who threw for 374 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Seahawks' dark side defense came up with a big fourth down stop with just under 5 minutes to play to help secure the win. Super Bowl 60 will be a Super Bowl 49 rematch back in 2015, where the Patriots won on a Malcolm Butler interception on the goal line. In other NFL news, former Titans defensive coordinator Darnell Wilson is joining John Harbaugh's staff in New York to be the Giants defensive coordinator. And Tennessee basketball with a big 79-73 win Saturday night over number 17 Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Freshman forward Nate Ament with a game-high 29 points. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Break it easy once. On your home for the Titans and Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go on a frozen and frigid Monday in the Music City. Welcome in. Hope you had a safe and warm weekend. If you are not warm this morning, if you're still without power, first of all, same. That's why I have trudged my way to our Midtown studios. You're in this with a lot of us, and we're going to help you get through it with maybe some distractions over the next 4 hours. Maybe by the time we are done, the power will have cut back on. Who's to say? Alongside Ramon Foster from the home studio this morning in simple Sumner, humble Hendersonville, Justin Hawkins, who has thawed out to make it here as well. I'm Will Bowling, 615-737-1045. Ramon, good morning. How are we holding up there in simple Sumner?
Man, we're holding pretty good, man. I will say, I'm going to knock on wood as I say this. We didn't lose power the entire time, which we're on a different electrical company, I think, than most of Sumner County. I think we're on Cumberland. Everybody else is on NES, which is crazy because somebody in our neighborhood, there's one house in our neighborhood that actually went out, and we're all supposed to be on the same grid. Lo and behold, man, I'm more than blessed considering how many people have been without electricity. My first world problem is we're without internet, which I'm using a phone company's hotspot right now, which, by the way, Will, I was so close to getting rid of. You know how you say, like, I got too many lines
yes.
on my phone bill, or, you know, one of those. I was like, I got to get rid of something. And lo and behold, here it goes, the hotspot doing its job. And I guess it's worth this pay right now.
That's good. We're all going to keep our same seats. No matter where you are listening to the show, we're all going to knock on wood when I lead us in unison all around Middle Tennessee to keep the phone hotspot that way.
Yes, we are, man. You don't understand. I was so close to calling my phone company and saying, hey, I don't need this anymore. I hadn't been traveling as much. I need to be able to, because when I travel, I just use my phone hotspot. And I actually have the actual block here.
Oh.
And I've left it at home. And lo and behold, man, it's doing what I'm asking it to do. It's only 3 devices in the house that are hooked up to it, which is what I thought was going to be the most problematic thing, was everybody in the house was going to connect to it. Why is my camera so blurry? Y'all seeing me pretty good?
Yeah, I think it's because of the hotspot. It's okay, though.
Oh, my gosh.
I figured that might happen, but that's all right. Hey, 104.5 The Zone TV, you can listen to us there. If you're at home, you may see a very laggy Ramon Foster throughout the morning, but that is better than no Ramon Foster at all. That's what the people have got to accept this morning.
And by the way, shout out to you and Jayhawk for going in. You stay closer, but Jayhawk is in Murfreesboro. There's no way.
Yeah,
At
how was it?
nighttime, how was it?
It wasn't that bad. My road that I live on is a little ice sheet.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is
while
the
my
back
car
road
was
stuff.
warming up this morning, I did a little ice skating by myself at 3 in the morning. But other than that, it was good. I made it here nice and safe. Went about 50 the whole way. It was good. It really wasn't that bad. All I have to say is, while the roads may look like they're clear, they're definitely not. There's definitely patches of black ice, so be careful. Don't go out if you have to, or if you don't have to. But if you do have to, it is not that terrible. Just be careful.
Don't encourage that.
Yeah,
Jayhawk.
no, just still stay in, everyone. We don't need. Don't get out. Do not unless you are an essential worker, unless you have to be at work in person, like totally essentially. I just stay in still. Yeah,
Jayhawk, this is where you got to learn public responsibility right here. Somebody will say, well, Justin said it's not that bad.
No.
I'm trying to save you, Jayhawk. Well,
exactly.
Well, don't put us behind the don't put us underneath the microscope on that one. Jayhawk is saying he had to go into work, so because of that, he's there. He wouldn't be out otherwise, right, Jayhawk?
Probably not. Probably not.
Take out the probably, and we're good.
Really? Take out the probably.
I can say just from coming in and the roads around our station, like Division Street, mostly fine. I was walking around there last night, and it's a lot better this morning than it was yesterday. That is the big thing that I'm curious on in our visit this morning with Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, who's going to join the show at 8 o'clock. Just what he's hearing from first responders about status of roads, status of NES, status of a lot of things this morning versus last night. There are probably some roads that have more patches of black ice this morning than they did yesterday afternoon or last night. There are also maybe some roads closer to the downtown area that got more cleared off or just had snowplows go through them, because there were some roads I saw this morning versus last night that are better than they were last night. There are some of them that are a little bit worse or a little bit different. So Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell will join us. We'll talk just purely snow and warming shelters and all these things and try to help you guys out as much as we can and get information out to you through him. So looking forward to having him at 8 o'clock this morning.
I would probably say, too, with it getting as cold as it did, I don't think there was a melt. You're speaking about roads that got clear and stayed clear. The melt and then refreeze is what kind of throws you off when it comes down to that black ice right there, especially when it's draining downhill. Oh, I did have a moment yesterday, too. So here I am. I'm excited for the snow. The ice, not so much, because nobody likes ice like this. I don't care who you are.
It's true.
So yesterday we get the rain, or Saturday we get the snow and the rain and everything in between, right, Will? Jayhawk listeners. So I'm laying in my bedroom. Now, we've had an issue on our roof before Jewel Roofing, okay? Yeah, that's the appropriate okay? So the ice dams, or ice jams, whichever word it is, okay? Think ice jams. I'm hearing the rain on the roof, and I'm hearing it kind of dispense a little bit. Mind you, it's already a frozen cap, I guess, on the roof as well. And I hear drip, drip.
Oh, no.
It's somewhere in between my master bedroom and my living room area.
Oh,
there's a drip somewhere, Will, listeners. And I'm real hesitant to have people come out, which I trust Jewel Roofing. And I hit up Robbie Van Norman, the owner, too. And I was just like, hey, free shout out. I think you need to come over and check out my roof, man. You want to hear about I thought owning a home was fun conversation.
Right.
Own a home, they said.
Yeah.
Well, it woke me up out of my sleep when I heard this because I guess the water didn't have anywhere to drain, and I guess the ice jams or whatever, that's what it does. It'll push water back in the house. I will say, knock on wood, and all the superstitions that are included in this, I hadn't seen a watermark anywhere on the ceiling just yet. I'm really hoping that whatever it is just in between the walls and not on the walls. But either way, I'm probably like everybody else. Well, a good amount of people in Middle Tennessee, my roof's going to have to get checked out or at least reviewed as far as a leak goes somewhere. So I did have that.
Awful. Not fun.
Awful.
Not fun. Goodness. Well, What we will try to do over the next 4 hours is continue to update you on things you need to know about the weather, about the next steps, as many of you try to get out this morning, or many of you are just waiting for kind of the all clear on roads to get out this morning. So we'll do our best on that. We will also talk a lot of football and a lot of hoops, because there is a ton to get to from another busy weekend. Mike Wilson of VolQuest will join us at 9:20. First time we've had him on as a member of a new place for him, obviously not new to us. So he'll join us an hour forward to talk about a big Tennessee win over Alabama. We've got a ton of conference championship reaction coming up in a few minutes. But we begin, Ramon, on the sports side of things this morning with the Titans search for an offensive coordinator. Mike Garafolo on NFL Network with the latest yesterday on NFL Insiders about the Titans search and their big name at the top of their search for offensive coordinator.
The Titans were the number 2 in the John Harbaugh, the runner-up in the John Harbaugh sweepstakes. And there's a reason for that. There's a lot to like in Tennessee, Judy. The quarterback, a lot of people like what they've seen from him. I had one coordinator candidate say he could be great. That's 1. 2, a lot of cap room. 3, high draft picks. 4, they got a new stadium that they're about to head into here. So Robert Saleh hiring an offensive coordinator, I think he's going to have some cards to show some folks, whereas maybe a second time around for a head coach doesn't necessarily have that kind of draw. He's going to have that draw. Brian Daboll interviewed for this head coaching job. I believe he's still in the mix for offensive coordinator. He and Saleh have built a relationship over the years. And Daboll, I know, is one of the guys that does like what he sees in Tennessee. So let's see how that one goes. And maybe the guy here, and Judy, you as well, being in the New York market, would love to see the previous 2 head coaches in the New York market join forces in Tennessee, just to see what that would be like.
Mike Garafolo went on to say at NFL Network later, the Titans would like to hire Brian Daboll ASAP at this point. Ramon, the weekend is come and gone, but the new news is really kind of old news, that it is still Brian Daboll at the top, and the Titans appear to be still vetting other candidates, but also very much prioritizing their pursuit of the former New York Giants head coach.
They did, and I'm glad they're negotiating through the public also. If they're really serious about getting Daboll, like they're letting him know through the media that, hey, this is where home is. And I think it's appropriate for them to do it, because the sooner they can go ahead and get this staff assimilated, man, and put themselves in a situation to where they have a little bit of balance and understanding of what the 2026 staff is going to look like, the better. And I would also throw this in there too. The sooner Cam, I guess, knows who his OC is going to be, the quicker he can wrap his mind around it as well. With the conversations, I'm sure that's got to happen. Like, I think it's crucial for them to start off with, conversations and get to know each other. And the sooner the better in this situation, with as young as Cam is coming out of that rookie year.
It's interesting. We get the reports from Garafolo on they'd like to hire him ASAP. Then we get Tom Pelissero yesterday saying that Cliff Kingsbury and Packers OC Adam Stenavich are also planning to interview for the offensive coordinator position. There was another report that said the Titans would talk to Thad Lewis today, Buccaneers quarterbacks coach, as again, they've got to go through the same processes for hiring coordinators as they do for head coach with the Rooney Rule and things of that nature. So we'll see what the process continues to look like. Ramon, you don't get as many official statements and published stories saying they have completed an interview with X, Y, or Z candidate. These things happen a little bit more in the dark than the head coach interviews in terms of the team putting out official releases, because they don't have to do stuff like that.
No doubt. I guess the biggest announcement that could be made that involved the Titans is, what do the Buffalo Bills do?
Correct.
That right there, I think, is going to show a lot. And by that time, heck, Daboll may, if it's him, may have already been informed that he's the next guy. I am interested, though, in the consideration of Adam Stenavich, though, too. Out of Green Bay, I'm sure we'll discuss a little bit more in detail what he is, but fascinating that they are trying to pivot, or at least put public pressure on Daboll to say, hey, make a decision, because we got to move on, because we really like you, but we'll move on still.
615-737-1045, streaming the show live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You can drop a like or a sub there. It is free to you and helps us quite a bit. Coming up, conference title reaction: Patriots 10, Broncos 7, Seahawks 31, and the LA Rams 27. Everything you need to know, what the highlights were, and our thoughts coming up next.
You got some big milestones coming up in the new year: getting engaged, celebrating a big anniversary. Well, Genesis Diamonds is ready for you. After a record-breaking year in 2025, Genesis is fully stocked with the new year with a massive selection of exquisite diamonds, designer rings, all the latest fashion jewelry, and of course, the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. I actually went by this past week, and they are absolutely right. So many different variations of watches there, man. But Genesis is the go-to place for all things jewelry here. Genesis has the highest possible standards: full transparency, price integrity, uncompromising quality, and customer service that doesn't come from a policy manual. It comes from the heart. At Genesis, the non-commissioned experts are there to help you, to guide you, to show you all your options, to show you how to maximize your budget with no pressure, no games, and no nonsense. At Genesis, they are not just another jewelry store. They are the industry leaders with unbeatable value, exclusive brands, and warranties and guarantees other jewelers will never offer you. So for that memorable moment in 2026, just know, get to Genesis and they will hook you up. Learn more at GenesisDiamonds.com. That's Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Will Bowling. January is a time to clean, to purge, to get things looking the way that they are supposed to. Why don't we treat our homes the way that we treat ourselves? I want to tell you about Zero Res, who can make sure that your home is purged and clean the way we're trying to clean up our lives in the month of January. And hey, if you are snowed in or iced in this week in Middle Tennessee, maybe you're realizing a little bit more. We need that deep clean. We need these carpets to be clean. Maybe you've just been tracking in so much dirt and ice into the home that you've got even more a need for it right now. Well, Zero Res has a different kind of clean because the science behind ZR Water's clearing agents is much healthier than using soaps and detergents to clean. With Zero Res, you get a smarter, lasting clean. No harsh chemicals, no soap residue, faster dry times, and things are going to stay cleaner longer. Check them out online, ZeroResNashville.com. You can call them now at 615-535-9376. You can book online, Zero Res, REZ Nashville.com. That's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. And don't forget to ask about their air duct cleaning. Ramona Will, 1045 The Zone live, kicking off your Monday morning. Ramon Foster in the home office, myself, Will Bowling in studio. 615-737-1045 on Twitter at Ramon and Will. Ramon, where people can vote in our Twitter poll this morning. Are you happy for Mike Vrabel and all the former Titans who won the AFC yesterday? Your options, you have three of them, not just yes or no. Your options are yes, no, and don't care. And I've got a feeling that don't care will be quite a strong answer for many Titans fans this morning, Ramon.
I have a feeling, man. Yesterday was pretty treacherous. I don't want to say treacherous. Yesterday was very interesting watching the conversation of how Vrabel was perceived while going to a Super Bowl in his first year, and the ones who were excited for him, the ones who also just wanted to crap on the idea that he went with a cupcake schedule. And I saw everything across the board when it came down to I guess, evaluating the former head coach of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel.
Before we even had our faces pop up on screen this morning, we had a comment in our F&M Bank chat that said, guys, Mike Vrabel is gone. Please don't make it the entire conversation this morning. I hate to be the bearer of bad news before 7 a.m. when we've already had a lot of bad news. It's going to be a big conversation. It is going to be today. It's going to be over the next 2 weeks. I do think we have a different perspective on the end of Mike Vrabel's tenure in Tennessee, Ramon, than national people who will just continue to dunk on the Titans and kind of leave out a lot of the facts. We'll talk more about that in hour two, about, the Titans part of the Vrabel ending and all these things. But, Ramon, we're not doing our jobs if we don't talk about it, because it is the story, not only here, but nationally. And we kind of have to talk about it.
And here's the other part. We discuss, and a lot of people get upset about this. I ain't going to say a lot of people. Some people, you always talk about the NFL. Well, the NFL is a huge part of our conversations most times because of the Titans, but specifically, this is about the team that won the AFC, which the Titans are a part of. And the fact that Vrabel's their head coach is just another storyline in it. We would have talked about this in length if it had been the Denver Broncos. Correct. And what they were able to do with Jarrett Stidham. It's just that you have a local involvement with it being Mike Vrabel. And I'll say this before we go to this conversation. I'm sure I'll bring it up later too. But this ain't a sad conversation the way I view this. This could be a very projecting conversation with having a fired head coach and Mike Vrabel go to the Super Bowl in his first year. Not saying that that's the pathway for the Titans, but it's always viewed as a second-time head coach. The tenure is usually not as good, or you don't have this type of success. So I would say this: get behind your man and Robert Saleh and hope that he's able to bring a staff and team together to be competitive like what Vrabel has done in year one. Because the Patriots, they were in shambles. I mean, a lot of what they had going on, I didn't project seeing this. I think you'd be a liar if you say, yeah, the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl in 2026.
10-7 yesterday. They beat the Denver Broncos in a snowstorm in the fourth quarter that it just the second it started falling, it started sticking to the ground, and all of a sudden this game changed significantly. Ramon, did Sean Payton have a weather forecast?
He should have, knowing that he lives in Denver.
If Denver has a team meteorologist, that guy needs to be, or girl, I won't discriminate, that person needs to probably either be given a stern talking to, or Sean Payton deserves to be given a stern talking to if he didn't know there was, whoever's in charge of telling Sean Payton, hey man, let's maybe take the points while we can, because there's a lot of snow that's coming in the second half and maybe in the fourth quarter, and maybe these chip shot field goals that were given up in the first half that we're running play action on, maybe we want to have those points later because it's going to snow. Ramon, why on earth is Denver not just taking the points, knowing that it's going to be snowing in the fourth quarter? Malpractice by Sean Payton in the first half of this game.
I feel like you got so much more left in you to complain about that situation because, Will, there's so much to actually complain about in that situation. It is, to me, by far. You know what he should do? And I got so many different lanes I could go about this game and Sean Payton, okay? It's so many different. You know who he should be mad at?
Who's that?
His computer. Okay. The little, algorithm that he's using that told him to go for it in that situation, he should immediately walk inside his office and slam his desktop. He should go upstairs. And to the nerd, I say that with all due respect because I think of myself as a nerd. To the person, okay, that's covering his spreadsheet and telling him what the analytics say in that moment, we're talking about, Will, before we even get to the weather, we're talking about the AFC Championship game. A chance for 3 points here's the most criminal part about it all. And I'm yelling because it ticks me off so bad. With a backup quarterback.
Yeah. On the New England 14-yard line. Would have been a 31-yard field goal for Will Lutz.
What did they lose by again? What was the final score?
Lost by 3.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
I mean, I guess he felt the momentum that Jarrett Stidham was having on the script when he was rolling out, passing, dotting stuff, and smiling at the end of plays. Brother, we got about 57 more minutes to play in this football game. Why are we celebrating right now? Sean, why do you not? This is where I will always say, and I like Sean Payton as a head coach. I like him as a delegator of being able to move teams forward, and he's done that numerous times right now, but that was flagrant, Will. I love the analytics, but at some point, and it may be too old school at times, but you just kind of got to go on that thing in your stomach called your gut. Like you said, you're working with a backup. The weather can go from sunny to snowy in Denver, Colorado at any point in time. And you chose against that defense with a backup quarterback to go for it on 4th down. And you know what? From that point, I felt like he nosedove the entire time of the game, man. He didn't know right from his left after that moment, in my personal opinion.
Well, and two, I can't obviously prove this,
silly.
But does Jarrett Stidham feel the need to chest pass the football forward deep in his own territory, which ends up being a fumble that allows New England to score if you've got a 2-score lead? If you're up 10-0 early in this game, do you really feel like, because that's the next drive, Ramon.
Yeah, it is.
From their own 17-yard line, they give up a fumble that just gifts New England 6 points. Like, what's going through Jarrett Stidham's head in that moment if he doesn't feel like he's got to make up for what didn't work on the previous drive? It just changed the entire momentum of this football game. It set up New England in a position to tie it and really undo a lot of the good that Denver had done early in this game, because, Ramon, the plan was working.
It was.
It felt like this was Icarus flying too close to the sun, and we watched Sean Payton's wings melt and freeze all in about a 2.5-hour span after the first quarter of this football game.
He's one of the many icicles weighing down the trees in Middle Tennessee. Is that what you're telling me today?
Yes.
Will, I legitimately look at those situations and say, this is where you can't overcome coaching. That to me was idiotic. To your point about what Jarrett Stidham turned into when he got the ball and this, he's feeling free and he's roaming outside of the pocket. I felt like he could make those passes at that point. But here's the thing. That defense in New England is smart. That defense is very much on its cues and where it's supposed to be every single time when it boils down to how they play ball. That was them the entire year. They weren't just going to continue to allow him to just roll outside of the pocket and feel as if he can do what he wants to. That's not the case. And for Sean Payton to feel like Jarrett Stidham, who had not started in a game in over 700 days at the time, and this would have been in the AFC Championship, to put that much trust in him. Well, you know what happened after they went forward on 4th down and did not get it? Pressure was applied to him at that moment. You mentioned him shovel passing the ball backwards for that fumble. You know what you also saw? They realized that they could get to him in that moment and rattle him, and they did. And what's crazy about it, Jarrett Stidham, I think, when he's on script, can make almost any play on the field. He can run the football. He can do all the things that you need him to. But you know what he hadn't seen in over 700 days? Real pressure in his face.
That's right.
Real decision-making that had to go down in real time. Taking care of the football, because here's the thing I would tell you about scout team quarterbacks. Scout team quarterbacks are brought on to practice team, brought on the teams to make those type of mistakes against the first-team defense. Okay, like when people are complaining about, well, why doesn't he get the reps? Well, because you focus on the starter. That right there has been Jarrett Stidham's life for the last almost 3 years. of him just appeasing to the starting defense. And you know what he did? He looked like a scout team quarterback in that moment right there. And I put more blame on Sean Payton than I do on him. So for the people that want to slam dunk Vrabel's pathway into going to the Super Bowl, here's what I would tell you. You should probably just throw Sean Payton into the water and just make him swim across it. Well, and it's frigid outside.
And that's on him. This is the best example, Ramon, that in the NFL, you get credit for just not screwing it up.
Manager.
Yeah. And that's what New England has been in the postseason on offense. They have been in offense, albeit some of it kind of luckily because they've fumbled it and other teams just haven't pounced on it. But whether it be a little bit because of luck or a little bit overall, Mike Vrabel deserves credit and the New England Patriots deserve credit for just not giving the game away. And when you've got some of the best defenses of the NFL on the other side, because that's what they've had to navigate in the postseason, Ramon, you get credit for that. And
you do.
Wherever the margins are in a football game, Mike Vrabel and his staff are going to find them and win those plays. Yeah. And last night, that looked like a blocked field goal. That looked like an interception, or almost, or I guess, near interception on fourth down. It looked like understanding, hey, let's go pick up the football that just got shot-putted forward, because there are some defenses that would just celebrate the sack and not even pick that ball up, or wait a second and somebody else is going to come from the other side of the field to come pick it up. It is good fundamental coaching. And even in Mike Vrabel's weaknesses and in his downfall here in Tennessee, no one has ever doubted the ability, Ramon, for him to find the margins and find those 5 to 10% of plays that are under your control as a coaching staff. He wins those plays over and over and over. Doesn't mean you always win the game if you win the 10% of plays kind of in the, you know what I mean? Like the toss-up.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But where talent can't take over. And it's just, what have we coached you to do on this 10% of plays? That is where Mike Vrabel makes his money and where he gets credit that I think he 100% has earned.
He has earned that, and he so much so will that he made Bill Belichick crash out on the sideline with him knowing the rules.
And John Stryker deserves a lot of credit for those plays as well.
There were national people tweeting about Stryker and about how you know their communication and how they're more right than wrong. I think that's more important with the rules than the analytic side that Sean Payton is using in those moments. Specifically, what threat did respectfully, I say this to him because he's put in a bad situation. Screw that. He's an NFL pro. What warranted Jarrett Stidham having the steel to run that play? If anything, don't you run the ball in that situation?
Agreed.
Like,
yep.
You're asking him, which you've already unloaded the game plan, that you're going to move the pocket. By the way, your offense is moving the pocket in general, and you expected to your point, Will, the small detail, the New England Patriots to not cover the outside. With everybody knowing that situation, don't get beat to the flats. Well, how's he going to do that? He's got to roll out, and they had a guy directly in his face. Not only that, but also play the ball in the flat too. Sean Payton's got to be. He couldn't have slept last night. No way.
No.
He couldn't have.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, you've got to be so confident that pass is going to be wide open. Yeah. Wide open. And no one knew Jarrett Stidham's limitations better than Sean Payton, who watches him practice every day. Right. Yet still, sometimes it looked like they were calling plays for a guy that they just met.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, too, to speak about the team that won, New England, Will, is this is what I mean sometimes, and you just said it a second ago, like, you make a lot of money and become a legend, Will, by doing what people ask you to do. Now, I'm not saying being a pawn, but what was special that Drake May did at quarterback, like the actual position?
Yesterday?
He became an athlete.
Yesterday or overall?
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, you're right. He became an athlete. He just ran. I mean, it was fitting, the end of the game, the fact that he's just running for a first down. Like that's all they needed.
That was it. And that's what I mean by, like, letting young guys grow. Like, a lot of praise, and he's in the MVP conversation for sure, Drake May. But can't you tell going into that game plan that they kind of just hammered into him, this is a great defense. We can't mess it up. And he still will have some issues of fumbling the football and just, not fumbling the football, not being able to make decisions and stuff like that. Like, that's where he was for the entirety of the game. But he didn't, to your point, he didn't hurt him, Will.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
He did not hurt him.
And in this game, Drake May becomes the first quarterback to win 3 playoff games against top 5 total defenses in a single postseason. The more impressive thing about that is he's about to play a 4th one because the number 1 defense in the NFL is awaiting from the NFC side. 615-737-1045. We'll dive into the NFC Championship game and how Sam Darnold proved his doubters wrong again. Maybe his most impressive performance yet. We'll talk about it next. Ramona Will rolls on, wrapping up hour one on this Monday morning. Streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. If you are snowed in this morning and got us on the tablet, the smart device, and you're normally on the radio, hit the subscribe button while you're there. We'd love for you to come back and join the F&M Bank chat another time down the road as well, when that road isn't as icy. Seahawks 31, Rams 27. Seattle and Sam Darnold, Ramon, are headed to the Super Bowl. This game had varsity quarterback play after the JV game in the AFC wrapped up before it. Sam Darnold's 127.8 QB rating. Matthew Stafford, 127.6 QB rating. Two of the sixth highest passer ratings ever among quarterbacks to attempt at least 30 passes, Ramon, in a conference championship game. Sam Darnold's haters are silent this morning.
Yeah, I saw you tweet that out, man. I think they need to be screaming from the rafters, dog, with what Sam Darnold has done. Just his time that he spent, with the Jets and how that played out. I think there might need to be a case study what happens with the New York, New Jersey Jets at this point, man. Because, again, how he was, not allowed to grow. And I know it's to his own undoing and stuff like that, but it just goes to show, man, that like these guys have to develop. These guys have to be in a position in which the right coach, the right matchup of offensive coordinators and team does matter. And just the support, man. With what Kevin O'Connell was able to do with him in Minnesota to kind of right that ship, they also must be punching the air right now too. But again, it was a toe-to-toe match, man, with two quarterbacks. One, the future Hall of Famer, not Sam Darnold.
If he keeps playing like that last night, then yeah.
He keep playing. But he went toe-to-toe with Matthew Stafford, right. Will, and absolutely ended it, man. And not just that, the way they were able to craft that offense together and how the passes that he was capable of making was absolutely amazing. When you look at the touchdown that he threw to, let me find this name, man, to Jake Bobo.
Yeah.
The understanding of how Clint Kubiak set that offense up, knowing that the safety was going over the top to double Jackson Smith and Jigba. And down the seam, there was Jake Bobo for a friggin' touchdown. The guy that had only caught 4 passes before that fifth pass, which was a touchdown in the NFC Championship game. Quite honest with you, man, that's the type of offense that you want. So many options and a guy that can deliver the ball when you need it to, on top of watching Kenneth Walker just run the way he did yesterday. It was amazing, man. It really was.
Yeah, Jake Bobo, who played in 11 games this year, caught both of his targets in the regular season for 20 yards. All 3 touchdown passes for Sam Darnold were against pressure, making him the first quarterback with a trio of touchdown passes under pressure in a playoff game since 2016 in the next-gen stats era. He was 25 of 36 for 346 and 3 touchdowns. Ramona, that's, I think, the thing that impressed me the most about Darnold in this game. Against pressure all season, he only completed 52% of his passes for 11 touchdowns and 8 picks, a 74.2 quarterback rating. In this game, he was terrific against pressure. 3 passing touchdowns with guys all around him. That, to me, is what is certainly the most impressive part, is that I thought Seattle would win this game. I thought they would do so with more defense and run game and special teams, and Darnold would just kind of make the plays when he needed to.
Yeah.
Credit to Sam Darnold. They won because of him, Ramon. I mean, he certainly wasn't alone in it, but it's not like he was just put in the back seat and the defense is up there saying, hey, follow us. We're going to drive you to Santa Clara. Sam Darnold was in the front seat with Manuel on, because he was shifting gears and doing what he needed to on that offense.
Yes, way to paint that picture, Will. That boy was hitting that clutch pretty good, wasn't he?
He sure was. He learned how to drive stick back in high school.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. And here's the thing, though, too, man, I'm most excited about for Sam Darnold. He didn't fold under pressure. Like, that was his biggest thing. Like, look back at his last biggest moment that we could think of, other than like go before Minnesota, right? He had some cool stuff there. Well, he also crumbled there also too, Will, right? Like, he crumbled there in that game, right? But then you go back to his biggest moment that we know him for, and that's the Jets. I'm seeing ghosts. He didn't see ghosts, to your point. All the pressure that they put in front of him, they tried to disguise him. He knew where he was going with the football. Like, he needs to sit down without giving all his secrets away to somebody and explain what changed, what happened, because that's not the guy that the New York Jets saw. That's not the guy that the Carolina Panthers saw, right? When it boils down to what he became, he was a laughing joke around the league, but this is also why teams will, to your point, they will forever pour into the former first-round draft picks, because they know at some point in time and it's paramount that this happens with Cam, right? The right coaches and the right system around him matter, because I think that's where he's benefited more than anything in the last couple of years of his career, is being in a system where, one, people believe in him, but it also works to his strengths too. And just the other side of it too, the maturation side of it. That's why, to me, I don't personally ask for rookies to do a lot. If you're the special type, fine. But if you're in a position where you kind of just can walk yourself into being better, you're looking at the perfect case study and what he's turned into. And that's Sam Darnold, man. For as bad as it was for him, and I ain't gonna lie to you, as a player, I know I probably laughed at some of the stuff that he had going. I remember watching that Sunday night game, and what he said, I'm seeing ghosts, and I laughed, because as a player, I'm like, you're not supposed to say that. I'm not laughing anymore, Will. That man is the bona fide playmaker.
This from Opta Stats last night on Twitter concerning Matthew Stafford and the second place Rams in the NFC. Matthew Stafford is the only quarterback in NFL history to throw for 370 plus yards, 3 or more TD passes, average 10 or more yards per attempt, have 0 turnovers, take no more than 1 sack, and still lose, Ramon, in the regular season or the playoffs. Wow. Not just the playoffs. Matthew Stafford was terrific last night against a really good Seahawks defense. That, to me, was the biggest shock of this entire game, Ramon. I did not expect him and that offense to click the way that they did. You've got to be hurting bad if you're one of the 30 people that care about professional football in Los Angeles this morning.
Yeah, yes, you do, man. I love your quick, quirky shots right there, man.
You know I'm always going to get those in still. Don't worry.
My boy has got a flamethrower this morning to all this ice in Middle Tennessee. To the 30 people that care about football in LA.
Excuse me, they care about the Rams. There are plenty of 49ers and Raiders fans in Los Angeles. They care about Rams football in Los Angeles. All right, there you go.
That's true. Yeah, but here's the thing, to your point. They were able to get to Sam Darnold as a defense, man. They had points in which it was very stagnant for that Seattle offense, and they still came through. You even had Tariq Woolen pretty much give them the football back, and they still can close it out. A lot has to be said, man, about how you build your team up too. And somebody, man, that also needs and deserves a whole lot of respect too is Leonard Williams, who's been down again, another former Jets player that's kind of found his mark into what they're going to be as a team. But again, I don't think this is the Rams' last, shot at one of these type of games right here, because that defense so young and so talented. They got questions on what they're going to do with Matthew Stafford. But yeah, he got help from everywhere. Devontae Adams was lights out yesterday. Puka Nacua did Puka Nacua-like things. Blake Corum was able to run the ball as steady as you absolutely could, Will, and they still lost. I, for the life of me, I don't have an excuse for the Rams today. They played a heck of a game that just came up short, dog.
Yeah, sometimes you're just not, you play well, but you're just still not the best team on the field. And it feels like that was kind of the case in this one.
He ran into Big Sam.
Yep, Big Sam.
Is he the new Tom Brady?
Whoa. Mark that down. 6:55 a.m. Is Sam Darnold the new Tom Brady? Okay. No is the answer, but, he's certainly not what he used to be or who he used to be.
He's not what he used to be.
That's for dang sure. Yeah.
Can we also throw this out there, too? The strategic trade from the New Orleans Saints, Rashid Shaheed.
Worked out pretty well, didn't it?
It's paid dividends, man. What a play by their GM.
You've got 2 teams headed to the Super Bowl who can win on any given Sunday with any of their 3 phases leading the way. In offense, defense, or special teams. That is certainly where these 2 teams have a Venn diagram that's just a circle. 615-737-1045. Stream it live at 1045 The Zone TV. Tennessee basketball. Ramon Foster, just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. We'll talk about it next.
7:02, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Patriots are AFC champions after defeating the Broncos 10-7 in a heavy snow-filled second half after a 5-play, 59-yard drive ending in a Cortland Sutton touchdown on the Broncos' second drive of the game. The offense stalled and had just 32 yards of offense totaled in the second half. Quarterback Drake May threw for just 86 yards passing but had 65 yards rushing and a touchdown. Quarterback Jarrett Stidham, in place of injured Bo Nix, threw an interception late in the fourth quarter, icing the game for the Patriots. And the Seattle Seahawks are NFC champions after they beat the Rams in a 31-27 thriller. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold threw for 346 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, outlasting potential league MVP Matthew Stafford, who threw for 374 yards passing and 3 scores. The Seahawks' dark side defense came up big with a 4th down stop just under 5 minutes to play to help secure the win. So, Super Bowl 60 will be a Super Bowl 49 rematch back in 2015 where the Patriots won on a Malcolm Butler interception on the goal line. In other NFL news over the weekend, former Titans defensive coordinator Denard Wilson is joining John Harbaugh's staff in New York to be the Giants defensive coordinator. And Tennessee basketball on Saturday night had a big 79-73 win over number 17 Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Freshman forward Nate Ament had a game-high 29 points. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 on a frozen Monday morning in Music City. This is Ramon and Will live on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045, the number. 104.5 The Zone TV, where you stream us with our faces for radio that are all bundled up trying to stay warm this morning. Ramon Foster in Simple Sumner. Justin Hawkins, myself, Will Boulding here in studio in Midtown. Ramon, just when you think you're out, Tennessee basketball pulls you back in. The Vols have won 5 straight games over Alabama for the 3rd time in their first 5-game winning streak over the Crimson Tide since 1968 to 1972. Big-time win, 79-73 for Tennessee Saturday night.
Yes, it was, man. Being down 10 points in the first half, I think there was the biggest deficit that they had to face, man. Again, as you said, the moment you feel like you're out, here you are again, rooting for them again, man. And that was a big-time dub to go on the road the way they did, play the style of ball they were also playing. And here's a better part about it to me. The guys that we've been asking to step up absolutely stepped up and took charge. Nate Ament being one of those guys, man. Of course, Jacoby Gillespie. I will say I need more from our front court. Watching the bigs play, man, is somewhat problematic. I was talking to Savage about this, man, Ron Slade, and he was explaining to me, it was just like our guys aren't looking to, on their pick and roll whenever they're being, when a double team in the guards, they're not looking to score. They're catching the ball and giving it right back out, and I think their production is looking exactly like it. Felix Zapara, only 5 points. J.P. Estrella, 6 points, and also Jalen Carey, only 2 in 15 minutes. Like, those are the things that have to get better, but if you got Nate Ament attacking the way he is, or Jacoby Gillespie being as physical as he is, driving to the hole and trying to create as much as he possibly can, I mean, you win these types of games. It was good. It was strategic, Will, and he did not back down, even man, with a doggone pro on the team. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's right. Tennessee moves to 1-0 in G League play over the weekend. Congrats to the Vols on that over the in Coleman Coliseum Saturday night. Yeah.
You saw the social media post?
Yes.
Awesome.
Of course I did. The Tennessee basketball account and Kellen Heiser, who just does such a good job running that, posted the final score and said, "At Bluecoats, you're next," referring to the Delaware Bluecoats, who are playing the team that Charles Bediako is supposed to be playing for in the G League. Just terrific.
Yeah. It was amazing, man. I'll be honest with you. Have to. It was other teams. Duke, I think, side-eyed and laughed at it.
Duke said LOL to it.
Laughed at it.
Yep.
It was good stuff, man. I thoroughly enjoyed the pettiness.
Yeah, it was impressive the way Tennessee kind of flipped their switch again from a rebounding perspective, because Alabama rebounded each of its first 5 misses in this game. In the second half, Tennessee allowed 3 Alabama offensive rebounds. That was it. Bama ended the night with 10 offensive boards, and half of them came before the first media timeout in the first 4 minutes. There's just not a world where Tennessee, with the front line that it has, gets totally out-rebounded and is all that successful. Like, this team does not have the outside shooting that you need to be able to make up for getting beat inside. This team is always going to have to at least hold their own. They don't always have to win the battle of the boards or the paint inside. You're just then asking your team to either create the live ball turnovers needed to score before the opposing defense is set up, or they're going to have to just get a lot of jump shots to go. And in this game, they made enough jump shots, but they also rebounded enough of their misses to give their guards and their backcourt some more opportunity. This is just always going to have to be a front court-led team, the way Tennessee is built this season.
It really is, man. And just watching, like you said, them being able to rebound the way they were and get the ball out. They were a good bit, I thought, rim protecting this weekend. Ekpara doing his thing. Jay Prestrella got his one block that was necessary to keep his stat line going, man. But here's the other part, though, too, that I'm appreciating about this team whenever they're on. When the guards are doing their thing, or the guys controlling the ball, they're driving and pressing. What I've seen for them, and it was kind of smart, especially against this Alabama team, with how they shoot the ball, they'll slow it down, get into a half-court set, man, and just get it into the paint to the bigs and let guys go to work. That is where I see the advantage of having, with only 2 points scored, Jalen Carey, to where he can just use his lower body to create space, either by letting the guards drive him or creating foul situations in which they can continue the scoring in a half-court set. I thought that was super unique, man. Defensively, too, what the refs were allowing, they were able to be as physical as you needed them to be without overdoing it. And the tough part, that element of the game, to me, I felt like needed to be explored just a little bit more, or exposed, because I felt like we got pushed around in those games in which they were losing, or against the Kentucky game, and how that, they couldn't close it out. Watching those guys not just settle for the 3-point shot and get to the paint and get a little bit more physical has to be the game plan moving forward, especially when you got a guy like Nate Amanda, Jacoby Gillespie, who are hitting the mid-range shots too.
Nate Ament with 29 points in this game on 10 of 20 shooting. With his 10 made field goals, that's a career high. He became the first Tennessee freshman to score 29-plus points since February the 10th, 2021, and the first to make double-digit field goals since December the 4th, 2021. 18 second-half points, only 1 turnover, and 38 minutes of action as well for Nate Ament. Nate Ament joined a list, Ramon, of SEC freshmen in the last 20 seasons to have 29 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists in a game. Here is the list of players that he joined. Ben Simmons, who did it twice, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, Trey Johnson, and Terrence Jones. He is the first of that group to achieve that feat on the road against a ranked team. He is the first freshman from any league to, on the road against a ranked team, have 29 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists since Chase Budinger on February the 10th, 2007. That is the kind of performance that Nate Ament had. Tennessee will go as he goes, and that's not totally fair to a true freshman, but it's the reality of it, Ramon. He is so talented that his ability to get inside, and as your brother Ron Slay has said, just putting it up on the rim and giving your guys a chance is the best thing for this team. The shot doesn't always have to go in, but he is now starting to finish around the rim. And Ramon, his confidence, the look in his eye, the way his shoulders are back a little bit, and he's just everything about his body language looks like a totally different player right now.
You're seeing exactly what I'm seeing, man. And I think the physicality probably shocked him. You know, it was conversation about, the travel team that he ended up playing with, the level of competition that they, or he played with or against with the team that he was, a part of. But here's the thing. This is the talent that everybody saw. He's still top 10 when it comes down to his draft status. He's the guy that can score. You're seeing that part of it. But here's the point, though, too. Well, he's still super young, right? He's still in a position in which he's growing. I don't think his body's matured enough just yet.
Right.
But he still will, to that point, look like he's finally understanding Coach Rick Barnes' mindset. Go, no matter what. Go. He's attacking in a way that you say to yourself, and every single time he makes one of those posts for like face up type of shots, the commentators calling the game, he's a 6'10" frame. Like, yeah, he's taking advantage of it right now. Not just that, his skill set to not just shoot the ball into the hoop, but he's using the bank. He's using the glass a little bit also. And you see his toolbox of just moves that he got to go score. But again, between him and Jacoby Gillespie, man, I was glad to watch those dudes kind of do work and weren't afraid to take their shots when they were there too, because that's what I thought was the biggest issue. They were being too friendly to one another.
23rd 20-point scoring game for Jacoby Gillespie, including his 9th this season as a Tennessee Volunteer. He did enough. He made up for a couple turnover mistakes in this game as well. The other thing I loved, Ramon, was the two-man game of the big men feeding each other. Just taking away the need for Jacoby Gillespie to always be the one to find Felix Okpara. I loved those two sets that Tennessee ran. One of them, I think it was Jalen Carey throwing the lob to Felix Okpara. The other one was JP Estrella. That's a wrinkle. That's a wrinkle. And I thought Rick Barnes, out of some timeouts, ran some sets that were really good. I thought that was a great adjustment in this game specifically. The ability to have basically 2 5s on the floor together at times when you have Estrella and Okpara who started the game together. That may be what JP Estrella needs to be able to take that next step and be more consistent. If you put him at the 4 and say, we'll let Felix be the rim protector, but if you can hold your own on some of these coverages on ball screens, and if we just eliminate some of the just total breakdowns that we've got defensively, we can use your offense. Because, Ramon, his little jump hook and his little baby hook, like turnaround jumper, is a really, really important element of this Tennessee offense that they need him on the floor for the way this team is built this season. No question about it.
Can we just call out some foolishness too? Speaking of the bigs,
of course,
when it comes down to that type of stuff.
Talk about Charles Bediako. Is that the foolishness we're talking about?
His intro onto the court.
Yeah, Bama fans acting like he just came back from a broken leg or something. What are we doing? What are we doing,
come on,
man?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there
100%,
with you.
100%.
I'm with you. Like, this guy just went and did 3 years. Like, they act like he got locked up, wrongfully accused of something.
Yeah,
man.
They acted like he'd overcome some kind of adversity.
Brother, like, that is fine. Here's the other part of it, too. I know he couldn't start the game, but it was strategic to have him come into what he did and stop the game and pretty much give him a standing ovation.
No doubt.
When it came, like, this dude was practicing and playing pro athletes. That's the other, like, I know, like, some people, he didn't play in the NBA. Yes, he did. Okay. He also was a part of the program. That's like me. Okay, just to break it down all the way to you. Me leaving college, going to practice on an NFL team for 3 years on the practice squad. I don't care how you look at it. I'm a better player. I'm stronger. My mind is different. I'm coached a little different. And I got more understanding of how quick the game is, and I can slow it down. This guy went and did 3 years in a program, came back down and got your head smacked still. Oh, my gosh, I can't understand that one, man. But that round of applause I thought was flagrant. Like, I know we're a rival and all those types of things, but Alabama people cannot complain about the issue anymore. I don't care how many of your players get poached. I don't care how many of your players chose to leave. Whatever the case may be, you can't complain anymore. You are part of the problem, and everybody that's in that fan base that applauded him coming onto the court to play against amateurs, because to me, he's a pro, although Nate Ament showed him what a real pro looks like.
Nate Ament is the closest thing to Charles Bediako's seen to an NBA player in a while. 615-737-1045, our number. Stream it live on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Coming up, We got to take our medicine, Ramon. It's time. A lot of you aren't going to like it, but here comes the airplane. Mike Vrabel won the breakup. We'll talk about it next.
In today's AI world, you can't even trust your own eyes anymore. Trust me, I see stuff online. I'm asking myself, is this real? We shouldn't have to do that, by the way. Well, we have to stop and ask, is this real? Well, you know what is real? I'll tell you. Your health and what the experts at Synergex and Low T Center can do to change your life. If you've been suffering from the symptoms of low testosterone, such as constant tiredness, lack of focus, or just feeling off, you know what I mean? Just, you don't feel like yourself. Well, at Synergex and Low T Center, you can meet with a real provider, not a chat bot on a website. We're getting rid of that AI thing with them, okay? You get real medication, never compounded testosterone or hormones. You get real pricing, not a surprise when the bill comes to your website. You also get real results because Synergex and Low T Center are the experts offering superior medication and service and support. And they've been doing this for over a decade, and that's real. I tell you all time. We worry about the outside of our body. Well, Synergex and Low T Center help you figure out the inside. Those emotions that you have, your levels, is paramount that everybody go get checked out in some capacity, man. And Synergex and Low T Center can do it for you. Not just for the guys, ladies. It's for you as well. Get real about your health this year, though. And with Synergex and Low T Center, for a limited time, the men's CRT test is free. The women's hormone test is usually $299. Well, it's just $99. And the weight loss consultation, free. I'm telling you now, you can walk in and book your appointment at getmyhealthfix.com. That's getmyhealthfix.com. And make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Hey, it's Will Bowling. Are you tired of surprise breakdowns and emergency repairs in your home systems? Well, Lee Company Plus is going to give you a smarter way to care for your home. For as little as $14 a month, Lee Company Plus members receive 4 annual inspections for their heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical systems. Plus, members receive up to 20% off on every visit and have access to exclusive discounts and promotions. You can learn more online at leecompany.com/plus. Platinum Home Protection starts with a Lee Company Plus membership. We've been given the best example this week of how challenging Mother Nature can make things here in Middle Tennessee. When you get all 4 seasons in seemingly about a week or two, you got to get Lee Company Plus on your side to keep you ahead of Mother Nature. So for as little as $14 a month, check out Lee Company Plus. Get those 4 annual inspections for your heating, AC, plumbing, and electrical systems online at leecompany.com/plus. That's Lee Company, all you need. So Mike Vrabel is off to Santa Clara as Super Bowl 60 is set. Patriots and Seahawks. On Twitter, at Ramona Will this morning, we've asked you a question. Are you happy for Mike Vrabel and the former Titans who won the AFC yesterday? Nearly 300 of you have voted already this morning. And Ramon, pretty split, which surprises me a little bit. 45% of you are happy for Mike Vrabel. I did not expect that. 28% of you don't care, and 27% of you say no. You are not happy. Perhaps you were even rooting against Mike Vrabel yesterday. Ramon, what impresses you the most about the AFC champion New England Patriots and how Mike Vrabel has turned them around in one season?
What he looks like with a real good offensive play caller. I think we'll start there. Was it Mike McDaniels is a solid play caller. Probably
Josh
not
McDaniels.
head coach. Josh, all the McDaniels.
A lot of McDaniels. Yeah, that's right.
And Mike's and everything else in between. Let me stop. Excuse me, because I messed up his name. But Josh is a real good play caller. Okay, and I think that's crucial right there too. I think this is Vrabel's first. No, well, he had Will Levis, I guess, but not the play caller that he wanted. I'm thinking of just being able to grow with the quarterback that you could trust in. I also add this to it though too. I think when you're fired the way Coach Vrabel was and you're in a position to sit back a year and see your mistakes, know where you got to grow at, the New England Patriots are just the benefactors of it. There's no other way around it, man. I think it's impressive what I will say, having a young, talented quarterback, but not just that, having the pocketbook open where he could craft the team the way he wanted to, no pun intended, to Robert Kraft. But it is that part of it, though, to me. I don't know how this thing broke up here in Nashville. There have been so many stories over egos, control, power. You also got to add in the 6 and 8 team that's a part of that too, and the injuries that came a part of it as well. How much has he learned from the Tennessee Titans that's now benefiting the New England Patriots? I voted on the poll, and I put on there happy for him. I love a second chance opportunity for people in these type of positions, especially when it's as public as it is. The way he set that team up, I will say this. You got some of that in Nashville, Tennessee. I think when you look at the AJ trade, the drafting of injured players, and I'm not only blaming John Robinson. Everybody played their part into this whole breakup that they had in Nashville, Tennessee. But I think Vrabel's ability to step away from this job and say to yourself, I got to change this. I can't be this. Or the way we were told that he liked only physical guys or dudes that played his way. Seems to me he's either changed that or he's got a whole team of guys that play like him. I don't know which one it is, but he seems to have given or grown a lot of grace when it comes down to how he judges players and what he asks of them.
Has Mike Vrabel already won this breakup, Ramon? Like, are you willing to say already that the Titans made the wrong decision? Is that where you're at this morning? Or is it still, well, maybe he doesn't achieve this if he doesn't get fired? Has your feelings on the Titans firing Mike Vrabel changed at all over these 2 years now with him going to a Super Bowl?
I think immediately the answer is yes, he's won. But to your point, and I think I brought it up too, I don't think the Patriots get this version of Mike Vrabel without the firing. You just don't. I guess the dislike that they had for one another when this thing ended in the end. And I think dislike is probably okay and appropriate to use with how this breakup happened. It was public. He also got a lot of support from people that knew he had this type of coaching in him. But the other side of it, though, is just this. When you look at where they are versus where the Titans are right now, they're picking top 5 again when it comes down to it. The losses still outweigh the wins when you judge this Tennessee Titans team. And there's another coaching change on top of it. And you went anti-Mike Vrabel by going not just offense, but a guy that was very much into team building and not necessarily into team discipline, the way Jeffrey Simmons kind of described that. And then you also hire a guy that's of the same cloth that Mike Vrabel is in Robert Saleh. Not call him the same guy, but a defensive, strong-minded, leader-type individual. Yes, Will, it is. And this fan base is going to have a hard time getting over that if Robert Saleh doesn't go win. Like right now is the honeymoon stage and saying, yes, we got Robert Saleh. But here's the other part behind it. He also has to go prove that he can win. And to be quite honest with you, in an unfair comparison, he got to show that he's somewhat better than Vrabel over the long haul of this thing. Mm-hmm. And it's very unfair to him.
A couple things here. I think first and foremost, yes, Mike Vrabel's won the breakup. And you got to give him credit for earning a spot in the final game of the NFL season, of Super Bowl 60. You don't get there accidentally. You don't get there just because of an easy schedule. The easy schedule can be part of it. The fact that you didn't play a formidable offense in the postseason can be part of it. It is not the story, though. The story is the New England Patriots earned a trip to Super Bowl 60. So that's first and foremost. I do think we're only having this conversation, though, about the Vrabel breakup because of who the Titans hired next. And it feels more like a slam dunk on the Titans because, unfortunately, Brian Callahan did not pan out the way that the organization hoped. And that stinks, I think, for all parties because this breakup still made sense 2 years ago when it happened. Mike Vrabel was 6-18 in his last 24 games here. He was a big reason why the offense wasn't clicking because of his inability to go outside of his network and hire an offensive coordinator that could take this offense to the next step and develop a quarterback. I don't have a ton of doubt about his ability to succeed with an already developed quarterback because we saw it. But again, Ramon, we are talking about a sport and a league where there is a big three you've got to have in order to be successful. You've got to have the right general manager. You've got to have the right head coach. You've got to have the right quarterback. And nothing about Mike Vrabel's end here in Tennessee proved to me that he had the ability with his network and his guys and his way or the highway to get that quarterback piece right. He has walked into a perfect ready-made scenario where he has a relationship with the owner, where he trusts his say when Robert Kraft knocks on his door and says, hey, by the way, Josh is your offensive coordinator. And I know that Robert Kraft has publicly said, no, well, this was Vrabel's decision. All the reporting out there has pointed us and kind of pushed us towards like, yeah, I think there was kind of already a place for Josh McDaniels on this staff for the young quarterback in Drake May. Ramon, he does not succeed without Josh McDaniels as his OC. And this is where there is a disconnect from the national people that are trying to dunk on us here locally and dunk on the Titans for this. We've got to be able to rub our bellies and pat our heads or vice versa at the same time. Two things can be true. Yes, the Titans probably should have kept Mike Vrabel around. But no, this version of Mike Vrabel's not the guy that was here at the end in Tennessee. This is Mike Vrabel with a quarterback. This is Mike Vrabel with an offensive coordinator. And at the end, partly because of him, he didn't have either of those things at the end here in Tennessee.
No, he did not, and tried to make it work with Will Levis as best he could. But we all saw how that kind of unfolded too. But you bring up a point, though, Will, I think is very advantageous to Vrabel, and that is his offensive coordinator. When you look at his time here in Tennessee, the guys he was kind of put in the boat with to say, hey, go make this happen, it was guys that he trusted. It was guys in a system that he wanted to be a part of. Like, we're talking about Tim Kelly, right? Like, not saying that Tim Kelly's not a good coach, but you're trying to get the old thing back with a guy, Arthur Smith, who was on fire here in Nashville, Tennessee. Not just that, but he had Derrick Henry, the right players system that for him too. You look at other guys that he's had along the way. You just kind of say to yourself, those guys aren't Josh McDaniels. And not just that, Vrabel now also has to he had open pocketbook to get the guys that he went. He was able to bring in a Stephon Diggs type to kind of help out his young quarterback in the second year. He was able to find and sign the highest defensive lineman on the job. I mean, in free agency as well. Like, we're talking about Todd Downing, you know what I'm saying? Like Tim Kelly, that still aren't where you trust him. His play call, his name's Josh, and he's got a defense, and he got the player that he would just pick and pry to make this thing work. Not only just that, I will say, and I think he had it here before it was taken away. You do your job a whole lot better when you got passion behind it. That's the part to me is I think him going to New England, that feeling he has that he somewhat owed them, you know, the ability to get them back. I think he lost that in Nashville with the way he and J-Rob, John Robinson kind of fell apart. I'll say that's the way I looked at it. I saw eye to eye. I think there was a tug of war into what type of players J-Rob wanted to hire versus what player that Vrabel said he needed. You mentioned it a second ago. You got to have the Trinity, Will, when it boils down to your franchise alignment. That's ownership. That's head coach and that's quarterback. But the guy facilitating a good bit of that is the communication side with the GM, and it seems like he lost it. It seems like he's got some. Well, what they're doing in New England right now, I think he's vindictive. I would say this. Very much a former athlete. I would also say that he's probably been spiteful and petty about how the coach team has made him better.
For sure. And I think, too, when you look at just how healthy this team has been, I mean, at the wide receiver position, at on the offensive line with new faces there, with high floor free agent acquisitions like Morgan Moses at right tackle, with Michael Winu coming in at right guard who had been there, Garrett Bradbury at center, who's been excellent for them with a young quarterback. And then you can put Jared Wilson and Will Campbell on the left side because you feel so good about your high floor. These guys aren't amazing, but they're also not going to totally be turnstiles on the right side, offensive linemen. Here's the other thing, Ramon, that I think people are forgetting today, and people are unfairly blaming the Titans for. 31 other NFL teams had the chance to hire Mike Vrabel right after he got fired here.
Right.
And for all the conversation that happened then about, well, you know, like he'll probably take a year. You know, it's very rare for coaches to get fired and immediately hired. If it was ever going to happen, it's going to be this guy. It's going to be Mike Vrabel. Kevin Stefanski immediately got a job after he got fired, and Mike Vrabel didn't. And Kevin Stefanski is a part of a really big loser team this year in the Cleveland Browns. I'm here to tell you guys this morning. I know the Titans are getting crushed on social media for this. Crush the other 31 teams too. What about the New England Patriots and Robert Kraft, who had to watch Gerard Mayo coach a season before he said, you know what, I'm going to pull the plug. Let's go get Mike Vrabel. You could have done that the year before. You could have immediately had him, but they didn't want him either because they probably had a lot of the same questions the Titans did. Who are you without Derrick Henry? Can you put together a staff?
Right.
Why are your players always hurt? Are you actually a guy we want in the building that's good to deal with? I mean, if we're really going to roast anyone this morning, honestly, it should probably be Cleveland because he was actually in their building more recently than he was even in the Titans building. And they let him go. And then they drafted Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. And now they're asking coaches to write essays in order to get their job. Like, that's my thing. If you want to crush teams for not wanting Mike Vrabel, that's fine. Let's just be equal opportunity. Because, by the way, the Atlanta Falcons interviewed both Mike Vrabel and Mike McDonald and chose Raheem Morris as they search for their last head coach. So you can crush whoever you want to for letting go Mike Vrabel, but let's be fair about the blame that we're giving out because 31 teams, including the one that ended up hiring him, also had the chance to hire him and didn't.
Yeah, it's fascinating just looking at it. So I will say this. I think Vrabel had an understanding with almost everybody that brought him in that he was going to take that job, though, too. I don't know if he could have said that out loud or he just chose to be very uninterested in those interview processes. But when you look at what he's brought back to New England, I think it was our teammate Buck that ended up like tweeting out all the coaches that are on that staff as well in New England. And, of course, all the players. Here's the thing. They're former players of former teams on every other squad around. But I know it hits a little different and with the Titans because, again, you had what a lot of people said was what New England is getting right now. Again, when you look at the moves that have been made and, the decision to let go of certain players, bring in certain guys, change GMs, it just wasn't going to work. And, again, I will say this. I think Vrabel's passion here. I don't know if you're going to get that version that New England is getting without what happened here.
He kind of forced himself out.
And it sucks because you got to watch it in real time.
Right.
Yeah. And the way he and J-Rob the 8-day trade, just go back and look at the body language of it. Just that side of it. You'll see where he was probably checked. I ain't going to say he was checked, but there were no good vibes, I feel like, in the last year and a half of his time here in Nashville, Tennessee, whether that be ownership didn't believe in him, he didn't like where he was, or the red coat ceremony did. Mm-hmm. That became a big conversation as well when he went up to New England and said what he said. There's no other place like this. Well, that may have been his calling card to on out. Titans fans, what I would just tell you, everybody somewhat goes through this type of. I'm watching Kevin Dotson play in the NFC Championship when Pittsburgh Steelers fans wanted him out because they didn't play. Now he's one of the highest paid guards in the entire league right now. So it sucks. And I'll again reiterate this. It's going to be tough sledding for Robert Saleh if he doesn't get this going because everybody's searching for that Mike Vrabel type here in Nashville, Tennessee again. They will need to go ahead and figure out what he's going to do because I think that kind of soothes over what happened over this past AFC Championship weekend with Vrabel winning.
Talk about former Giants head coach Brian Daboll, who is the top candidate for OC here. Would certainly help. No doubt. 615-737-1045, our number. We've got an update on the Bills coaching search when we come back. Plus, a lot of talk about domed stadiums and weather and quote-unquote football weather that we're going to dive into coming up next. If you're looking to relocate around Middle Tennessee, you've probably quickly learned how challenging the process is. In this market, as hot as it is, as crazy and fast as things move, you need a local agent with years of experience and a proven track record. You need my friend Bernie Gallerani of Bernie Gallerani Real Estate. What's going on? It's Will Bowling. Yeah, this is the only real estate agent I've ever personally endorsed here in Middle Tennessee because he's the real estate agent with the 30-day guarantee. Bernie Gallerani guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less or he'll buy it. There's no risk to you. He'll let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent with a 30-day guarantee. Just head online, BernieGallerani.com. Start by knowing what your home is worth. Head to his website. Check out the home value estimator. You might be sitting on a gold mine, and you might not even know it. Bernie Gallerani's cell phone number, too, is 615-428-2644. And he's got to feel confident about his ability to help you if he's just giving his cell phone number out on the radio. So call him. Check it out, 615-428-2644. You can head online to BernieGallerani.com. That's Bernie Gallerani Real Estate online at BernieGallerani.com. The Buffalo Bills search for a new head coach continues, and it's got major implications on the Tennessee Titans. Ramona Will continues here, wrapping up Hour 2 this morning, live on 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV. Philip Rivers, Ramon, is pulling out of the Bills head coach search. He says, I'm good. And I'm sure the Buffalo Bills probably would have said, yeah, we're good. We're good ourselves, Philip, as well. Thanks, but no thanks.
Who made the call, Will?
The report is that Philip Rivers has withdrawn from the Bills coaching staff.
That to me shows why the Buffalo Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost. Like just even considering that guy who literally just played his last NFL games 3 weeks ago. And you're asking him to be a part of your head coaching search. That to me is, I don't even know what to call it. That's quarterback privilege is what I would call that. Quarterback privilege. Yes, there I am again. Just being gaslit by former quarterbacks again, man. Oh my gosh, how dumb.
I do think it's just very funny that Philip Rivers was probably mentioning ways that he rebuilt St. Michael Catholic football in Alabama in an NFL head coaching interview, because that is the only coaching experience that he has. Yeah.
and how cool the players in the locker room thought he was when he came back to the Colts. Yes.
Incredible. The Bills are expected to interview Broncos QB's coach and passing game coordinator Davis Webb for their vacant head coaching job. That news broke 10 minutes ago from Ian Rappaport of NFL Media, who adds he also has an interview with the Raiders, which should go into tomorrow. So that is certainly relevant to Titans fans who are following the Brian Daboll sweepstakes, as that's clearly the Titans' top choice for OC. Ramon, I have a soapbox I want to step on to finish off the hour this morning.
I saw it a little bit yesterday, man. I saw it. What you got for us?
So Jeff Schwartz tweeted this out. Jeff Schwartz, offensive lineman, tougher than me. That's not saying much. Sirius XM, we've had him on the show before. Jeff does a good job. Says, in 10 years, this game will be played inside a boring-ass dome stadium, he says. I retweeted that, Ramon, and said, good, it'll be actual football. That wasn't football in the fourth quarter yesterday in Denver. Why do we glorify cold weather snow football that just turns into rugby? Like, is it just because it's cool to watch? Is it because we like looking at snow? We like to feel warm. We like to feel good about ourselves. We've got a big, tough sport. Ramon, that wasn't football in the fourth quarter. Yes, I'd rather see that in a dome stadium than whatever the heck that was, a game of rugby that was played yesterday between the Broncos and Patriots.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's football at its purest, Will.
How?
It's football.
You can't throw the ball. Core. How is that pure football?
I'll start right here. Name me one high school team that has an indoor dome.
Who cares? This isn't high school. This is the NFL. This is a $billion-dollar industry.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
No, that doesn't matter.
Absolutely. And the elements are part of it. Barring lightning, it is very much as a part of it as the free throw lines in basketball. You gotta have them, Will, is where I'm at right now, man, because here's the football that I enjoy and I love, man. It is that you have to add in elements to see who are the best instincts and player at there, who have the best instincts and just mindset when it comes down to this game, man. It, to me, having the outside elements, the rain, the snow, the heat, if that's the case, then the heat has to be an issue. Then you know these advantages are a part of the game if you have a team that is strong-minded enough to handle it. That's the way I viewed yesterday watching those games. Like, give me all the snow. Give me all the rain, because, again, how can you pivot and make your team better in those modes right there? That, to me, is pure football. I absolutely love it. The same way we can talk about how cold it is somewhere, I get it. But I'm with you. I understand where you're coming from. The best product's supposed to have the best conditions.
Correct.
I say wrong. Give me the snow.
I mean, I enjoy watching it because you could play a game underwater or football and I'd watch it. I mean, again, like a bad football game is better than the best versions of most sports. So obviously I'm still going to watch it. But like, is that the only standard we need now to crown a real champion? Is, people will watch it. You are not getting the best possible champion in a billion-dollar industry, billion-dollar industry, if you totally take away the pass game in a situation like this. You are emphasizing two elements of many that you need to win a football game under normal conditions. You're emphasizing kicking and running. Kicking and screaming. That movie should have just been about this game in the fourth quarter, because that's all that was happening, Ramon, was kicking, punting, running the football, and totally took away the ability to throw it. I just don't understand this pearl clutching of like, oh, we can't have indoor. It's supposed to be an outdoor sport. That wasn't the sport anyway. Why do we act like football has to be played outdoors? Football can be played wherever, and it's a better product indoors.
Because it matters, Will. Like every part of the throwing, the catching, the running, the grip, the grip that your cleats have in those moments right there too. And again, for me, I'll be honest with you, when you play in those types of games and those elements, especially if you win, it's just more fun. It just is. Like, it takes you back to childhood, the way I look at it too. But here's the other part though too, for me, Will. Like, it gives you an opportunity to see how dialed in your team is. If it's just throwing and catching, as well just do 7-on-7 the way I view this one.
No,
to have a guy slip because the ground is there, or to drop the football because his hands are wet. That to me is a part of the game in which you say yes. In that moment, you lacked concentration, and I think that is a beautiful side of it, Will.
Jordan on YouTube says, I'm not a true football fan. Okay, Jordan, whatever you say, buddy. I'd rather watch it.
You want a good product is what you're asking
I want
for.
the best possible product
You
when
want
the
a good
stakes
product.
when the stakes are highest. That's all I want. That's all I want. I think you don't get a real and true champion playing it this way. All right, we got to get out of here because coming up, we have got Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell will join us coming up next, talking about the latest NES timelines, NDOT getting out there, plowing roadways, what is next, and how you can get warm. And how we can get involved throughout the week as things start to thaw out a little bit. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell joins us after this.
8:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Patriots are AFC champions after defeating the Broncos 10-7 in a heavy snow-filled second half. The Broncos offense mustered just 32 yards of offense in the second half. Patriot quarterback Drake May threw for just 86 yards passing, but had 65 yards on the ground and a score. The Seahawks are NFC champs after beating the Rams in a 31-27 thriller. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold threw for 346 yards and 3 scores. Super Bowl 60 is a Super Bowl 49 rematch, where the Patriots won on a Malcolm Butler interception on the goal line back in 2015. In other NFL news this morning, former Colts and Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers is withdrawing his name from the Bills' head coaching search. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go to hour 3 this morning on Ramon and Will, live in studio for myself in Sumner County for Ramon from the home office. Justin Hawkins, our producer, as hour 3 begins. We are pleased to be joined this morning by Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, kind enough to give us a few minutes here as we talk about what is next as Nashville hopefully thaws out soon and the sun has appeared this morning. Mayor O'Connell, good morning. Thank you for taking the time.
Hey, guys. It's definitely good to see the sun out this morning after a few days of really bleak moments. And so we are going to count on the sun to help us a little bit. But, yeah, what's next is we've got NES line crews are going to be supplemented by a surge of capacity from other areas that are able to send some support. So we're hoping to get those line crews up to 300 or so today. And then we've got our NDOT team still out there clearing roadways to help support the NES crews and first responders.
Mayor O'Connell, what are the biggest challenges facing first responders this morning as we begin today and kind of figure out the effect of what happened yesterday afternoon and overnight?
Yeah, so, it's been this staged effect where, Friday we were able to pre-treat. Saturday, light snow started falling and did accumulate a little bit, but not too bad. So snow plows were kind of the main event then. And then overnight Saturday is when we got this just awful glaze of ice. I mean, the worst ice storm we've seen in 30 years. So the big challenges now are, after getting above freezing for a little while midday yesterday, temperatures dropped and are going to stay dangerously low pretty much all day. And so temperatures down to single digits is just a real challenge for everyone, including people who are in their homes without power, anybody who may be in an exposed condition. That's the biggest challenge, I think, is that all of these conditions together, the ice, the accumulation on roadways that has had chances now to partially thaw into slush yesterday has refrozen, which means higher risk of black ice, and just the sheer number of trees down. I mean, we had an entire tree collapse across our alley yesterday, and so it's just impassable out one direction. So it's that kind of scenario is out there across the city. I think, too, just the parts of the city that are hillier than others. We know that we've already had reports that as we've opened warming locations, one of the challenges is simply getting out of people's driveways in some conditions. So we're looking at all those options today as well.
Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Mayor, it does feel like there are some streets around downtown from my commute in this morning that are certainly more plowed and are clearer than maybe they were last night. Maybe some others that have had that freezing over effect with the black ice as well that maybe are worse than they were yesterday afternoon or last night. What are you hearing from NDOT crews, Mayor O'Connell, about the status of roads this morning? Is it fair to say some may be a little bit better and some may be a little bit worse?
I think that is fair to say. NDOT crews have been working, 24/7 for the past 72 hours and change. Again, going through that cycle of pre-treating, plowing, salting, plowing again. And so that they've stuck to primary routes. Anybody can go see what their game plan is at nashville.gov/snow. That's also a good roadmap for anybody who does need to be on the road today, because those primaries, they were able to get primaries clear enough through Saturday and Sunday that they were able to start treating the secondaries, which is what you want to see. That says there's progress. It means that a lot of the major thoroughfares are clear. I did have to get on the interstate yesterday. It looks like TDOT's crews have been doing a good job keeping some major pathways clear on interstates and big highways like Briley Parkway, Roselle Parks Boulevard, which runs pretty close to my house, also pretty clear. The main routes that I saw yesterday did seem to be pretty clear of snow, but already yesterday evening, I was coming back home after, right as sunset was starting. And, you could see the parts where precipitation through late afternoon was already starting to freeze on solid surfaces. So the roadway might look clear, but might actually have a thin layer of ice on it. And so for anybody who's out and about today, again, try to stick to those primary and secondary snow routes on NDOT's maps as best you can, but be very, very careful about the possibility of black ice.
We're joined by Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell. Mayor, NES is working hard and around the hour, man. I think they said they got about 60,000 customers power back on. What kind of time frame are you hearing to get things back up and running? And what are the next steps for NES today? And what kind of patience is also needed?
Yeah, that last question is maybe one of the most important. I think because this is an event that we haven't seen in 30 years, where you've got that combination of ice and freezing rain, it is something that it will require some patience. What we heard from NES yesterday was that in some of the more challenging areas where you have a combination of trees and utility poles and hills, as well as all that ice, there will be some customers without power for days. And I mean, I know this from personal experience. When we had the tornado in March of 2020, we wound up being without power for 5 days at our house. There was a cold snap at the end of that, but I think this is where we're looking at how can we accelerate progress. And that's why what NES is anticipating today is they will be joined by other line crews from other areas, which is going to help their ability to accelerate that delivery. And that what you just said also gives a sense of the scale of this. It's great to wake up and know that 60,000 people got their power back on, but the fact that we've still got 175,000 outages across the city just shows you the scale of how devastating this was. As far as we can tell, this is a record-setting number of power outages for NES. They did get up to about the 200,000 mark when we had the combination of the tornado and windstorms in 2020, but I don't think they've ever gotten up to 220, 230,000 outages at one time.
A lot of folks, for the folks that are without power still, is there anywhere that folks can go to stay warm and kind of get some help from the city as well as they're waiting for NES and other crews to get them back up and powered?
Yeah, for people who can safely get out of their homes, whether driveways or alleys or whatever, that we have tried to open as many warming locations as possible and as many neighborhoods as possible to keep people from having to drive particularly far. So right now, every fire station, every police precinct except for Central and East across the city are open as warming locations, as well as Madison Community Center, Southeast Community Center, and the fairground site. So we have warming centers all over the city, and just, again, encourage people who are taking advantage of those to be extremely careful on the roadways and, drive slowly, be aware of other motorists. And we have, I saw last night too, we saw a few intersections that had their traffic signals still out of power. If you encounter one of those, treat it like a four-way stop and just be extremely careful as other motorists on the road with you. Generally speaking, if it's not urgent to get to a warming location, if you're not needing to travel for some reason, be aware of all the closures that are out there and ideally see if you can still make it through the day sheltering in place. For instance, City Hall, the Metro Courthouse is closed. Metro Schools is already closed for today and tomorrow, and we'll continue to take stock after that. But we do have those warming locations up and running, and hoping that people are safely able to take advantage of those for the most critical needs.
Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, our guest this morning on 104.5 The Zone. Mayor, one last one for you. What can you tell us about WeGo Public Transit right now? I know the services that they had yesterday, and we're hopeful to get more routes operational this morning at 9 a.m. What can you tell us about that process, what they're offering at the moment, and how hopeful you are to have more routes operational there in the coming hours and days?
Yeah, so they should be up within the hour. As you mentioned, top of the hour today, they should be back up and running. And just to give you, again, a sense of how all of this ice messed with infrastructure, they had some critical communications equipment issues yesterday that led them on an abbreviated timeline. WeGo also operates on snow routes. They coordinate within that. So what we're expecting today is for them to be operating starting at 9 a.m. on those snow routes. It will be local only service. So their regional routes are not going to be online today, but anybody can go to wegotransit.com to learn more about that. And I will say we've taken advantage of those snow routes on tough days. It's, the coordination with NDOT means that the buses are usually going to be running on a little more clear pathway. And so they can be a good option if you need to get somewhere, whether it's a warming location or you're, a healthcare worker trying to get to a medical center. Those WeGo transit options on snow days and ice days can be really helpful. And then I'll just say for all of the updates about kind of conditions out there and our operational response, we've got up on Nashville.gov on every page on the website information about what is happening on the ground and how we're responding. And I'll just point out, we've got multiple crews on multiple different departments and agencies that have been working 24/7 since just before the winter weather appeared to prepare and then respond. So NDOT crews are working 24/7. NES crews are working 24/7. We've got our Office of Emergency Management coordinating response with first responders, those departments, other partners that are coming in. So just want everybody to be aware that we've got a lot of people out there trying to help people be safe and trying to help the city get back to full operations.
Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, kind enough to join us on a very busy morning. Mayor, I feel like, I know you're a sports fan. I feel like it's probably not the time to talk, Titans, talk Super Bowl pick, things like that. Hopefully we'll have time, in the coming months to maybe talk some sports with you as well. Really, really appreciate the time on a busy day. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Look forward to coming back to talk sports when we thaw out.
I love it. Thank you so much. There's Mayor Freddie O'Connell with us here this morning on the show. Lots of good info there, Ramon, for people this morning.
It was. One thing I will add to it also, if you're in a position where you want to help out, I know we're the volunteer state as well, with your chainsaw and clearing up, be cautious of the power lines is what I would tell you. And also work with a buddy, because this time of the year when people are shoveling ice, those heart attacks will happen or a tree branch will fall on you and stuff like that. Use caution, man, when trying to be a volunteer in these elements, man, is what I will warn you. We don't want to overpack the hospitals as well as not having power.
I was going to maybe ask him his Super Bowl pick, but I can't totally confirm that he had a power to watch the conference championship games last night. It was like, I don't know, maybe that's not the time.
Yeah, no, probably not the time, but
we'll get that on the back end, no doubt. All right, good stuff. Appreciate the mayor making time for us this morning. The latest of the Titan search for an OC. Some updates that aren't really updates, Ramon, but we will dive into the three names now that are starting to emerge as the interview processes continue. If these guys are hired, how do you grade the Robert Saleh hire? We'll talk about that next. Guys, I'm here to tell you that Valentine's Day is fast approaching. It's not just that object in the mirror that's closer than it appears. No, it's close. It's coming up. We got to start making plans. You got to get down to Brentwood Jewelry. 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. They got exceptional style, exceptional deals. They've done it every day for over 50 years. They're family owned and operated. And look, when it's important right now to shop and support local, Brentwood Jewelry is exactly that. You're going to get the best advice. You're going to get someone who cares about the process, understanding what exactly you need, looking at the different price options. You're going to feel at ease. There's no stress when you walk into Brentwood Jewelry. You can tell it is family owned and operated the second you walk in the door. 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. You can check them out online at BrentwoodJewelry.com. That's Brentwood Jewelry. Exceptional styles, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Ramona Willow, 104.5, The Zone continues in hour 3. And the Titans' offensive coordinator search continues this week and today. Reports say that the Titans are planning to interview Cliff Kingsbury and Adam Stenavich for the offensive coordinator position, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Network. Both considered quality candidates, Ramon. And they are both scheduled to meet with the team today, as is another candidate as well from Tampa Bay, whose name is escaping me. There it is. Thad Lewis, former Buccaneers offensive or QB's coach. Goodness sakes, is interviewing today for the offensive coordinator position here. If Brian Daboll is the hire at OC, Ramon, how does that change your feeling? Or does it change your feeling on the Robert Saleh hire?
Feelings on the Saleh hire I thought it was pretty solid anyway. You said it here. I think it just solidifies that help that he'll need as far as having somebody that knows how to manage the offense while he does what he defensive side of things. He said that he was going to be in a position where he was going to all the plays defensively and take all of that. Will is paramount. He has a guy that understands what this job is as an offensive coordinator. You're essentially a head coach on that side of the ball. Of course, I think somebody like Brian Daboll, and I'll even at this part too, because the optics I think do matter a good bit. But he's got the attitude to match what I think this team wants his identity to look like. I think he's savvy enough to go at and challenge Robert Saleh in practices where both teams make each other good. And just the side of I mentioned it being, somebody that you could trust, somebody that has experience in this league. And I think Brian Daboll checks all those boxes as far as the signing goes. Now, getting to a position to where you can get the guys that you want in and the personnel that you actually want to coach on the field, here's what Brian Daboll will do. He at least has a voice, Will, that should be respected in the ask years that he is looking for the type of offense that he wants to run. That's what he does to me.
2020 Bills offense under his leadership was number 2 in total yards, number 2 in points scored. In 2021, 5th in total yards, number 3 in points scored. How much do you think his system fits Cam Ward, Ramon? And, when Mike Garafolo says the Titans are hoping to get an answer from they want him to accept the job as soon as possible. I'm paraphrasing, but there's no question that Brian Daboll is plan A for Robert Saleh and the Tennessee Titans for their offensive coordinator and coaching staff. Why do you think that is, Ramon? What do you think stands out about him and Cam Ward together enough to say, nope, that's our guy?
What he's done with previous quarterbacks, I think that says a lot. Watching him kind of unlock the career of Josh Allen and the years that he got out of him that led to him getting a head coaching job, I think that's reason number one. He's worked with a younger quarterback in the same draft class as Cam Ward right now as far as Jackson Dart is concerned. You look at the way they looked like they were going to take the next steps with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo. That plays a part. And here's the other part, though, too, Will. The same way we can look at the other head coaches, man, that have done well. I'm going to go back to Matt Nagy, right? Matt Nagy in Chicago was a good version of himself for that first year and a half. But he also had a strong defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. I think when you look at a guy like Robert Saleh as a head coach, you say he thing well, meaning defense. His concept of being able to cultivate talent, grow it, and put it out there in the field and to be a very respectable product is there. I think the same can be said about Brian Daboll as an offensive coordinator. As an OC, Will, he cooked. You have to on that side of what you've seen from him. And it just makes sense that you want to pair him up with a guy like Cam Ward, considering the age that he is and how he's already been able to relate to other young quarterbacks. I think that's crucial right there. Not that being able to relate to age is a huge part of it, but being able to convince these younger guys that, hey, I'm your pathway to success. It's the same way to me I think Josh McDaniels has done with Drake May in New England. Is trust me is all I'm asking. I think Cam, with as strong-minded that he is and as ambitious as he is also, I think Brian Daboll matches that when it comes down to facilitating a work environment that both of them will be successful. And not just that, trust one another. We've mentioned this process. Drake May wasn't out of this world when it came down to his AFC Championship performance, but he did enough and trust his play callers to just simply get the job done. And
we lost him. I was hoping that wouldn't happen. Connection was starting to go a little bit. It was making a good point on Brian Daboll. So we'll try to reconnect with Ramon here in a minute as we talk more about the Titans OC process. But I do think the interesting thing with Brian Daboll is he is still considered a front runner in Buffalo for their head coach position. There's Ramon. You got us back again? He's muted.
So we can say some of the streaming feed.
There he is.
Am I still muted? You got
good
me now? Yeah, I'm gonna turn the camera off so we can save some of this streaming pool off this MiFi.
But we just get we'll get pictures of you to put up next to me. Maybe we can just get like a still shot.
If you do that, I'm gonna lose my mind, and I'm okay with that. Go ahead. Let me see what you can come up with.
Perfect. Well, I think the thing on Brian Daboll, Ramon, that interests me is getting the most out of a quarterback who succeeds outside the structure of the offense and putting Josh Allen in the position to be successful that he did, but not just Josh Allen. I mean, I think you can look at 4 different quarterbacks on Brian Daboll. Jalen Hurts at Alabama in 2017.
Yeah.
Josh Allen in 20 and 21. Daniel Jones in 22 and Jackson Dart in 25. What's the common thread, Ramon? Our connection's too bad, so I'm not going to do a call and response here with you. I'm just going to tell you my thought on
still good? Go ahead.
No, we're fine. I don't want to take the chance. Yeah. Whatever. The common thread is athleticism and movement, Ramon, for me, of those 4 quarterbacks. And I love the fit of Brian Daboll understanding how to coach a quarterback who's going to do his best things in an offense outside of what he's really coached to do. That doesn't really make sense, maybe, like on paper. Like, so you're telling me you want a coach who knows how to not coach Cam? Like, no, like you want a coach who can put Cam in the position to be himself. And that, I think, is what I really like about Brian Daboll. Someone with that experience who understands, here's what I told Josh Allen on 3rd and 8. On the 15-yard line in the red zone when he wanted to scramble around and do all this. Here are the rules I gave him of once you've checked this box and this box pre-snap and once the play started, then I'll let you be Superman. But you keep that cape over here until, like, those kinds of conversations I think are valuable for this offense and for Brian Daboll relating to Cam Ward, who he likes a quite good amount from what we know.
And that's, I will say this too, Will. Am I clear? You got me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Here's where I will say I think the plan changed just slightly because I feel like looking at OTAs and looking at minicamp and looking at training camp, Will, I thought we were starting to see Brian Callahan ask Cam to do those things. Give me the checkdowns. Because why? Because I know this is the better pathway to be successful. Give me the easy shots. Did we learn from the tip football from Cody Barton to where you don't throw over the middle because guys are faster? I thought those steps were being made. I don't know where will the shift changed from OTAs and minicamp to the season to where he was asked to do a whole lot more and be more risky down the field.
Right.
Or Cam just got off schedule himself. That to me, to your point about Brian Daboll to Josh Allen and all the other players that he's coached, like, I think Cam's ability to listen and want to be coached a certain way for his success is going to lend him to where he has Josh Allen type leaps and bounds, and he can go on his own tangent at that point because he's earned that trust, Will, of knowing what he's going to do with the ball on each and every play. It just seems to have just crashed and burned all of a sudden, and I can't understand, Will, because like I know I'm getting louder because it's frustrating. I know, like that didn't seem like the plan in OTAs in the earlier part of training camp to where he was just asked to do that much more. Right. That blows my mind. So yes, I'm with you. Get a coach that can I ain't gonna say control him. Get a coach that can give him more understanding of what to be a pro. Or how to be a pro.
I'm with you. And Ramon, I think the other element of that too is just their ability to run the ball. I mean, the switch happened once they could run, and they actually committed to it. Because those two things are also different. It's not just can you run, it's are you committed to the run game when you can't. And the Titans got down in so many games in the first 12, 13 weeks of the season. 13 weeks and 12 games of the season. They're at 1-11 in their first 12 games. Yeah. And after the 25-3 loss to Jacksonville, it's like they just finally washed their hands of this on offense. Said, look, like if we're going to get down, we've got to still be who we are and develop some sort of identity and have something that is the foundation of this offense. Then let's see what Cam can do off of that. And then the Titans started to win in spite of Cam Ward, who only had 121 passing yards had 108 passing yards against the Cleveland Browns, but they ran for 184 and they won the game. Right. And then all of a sudden you're in the game and you can be more aggressive and you create more turnovers. And then all of a sudden you're rushing the punter a little bit differently. You get your hands on a punt. James Williams gets one, and then you set up another touchdown. Like all of a sudden you start to hunt instead of being the hunted. And it took them having to commit to the run game and say, you know what? It might be 3rd and 8. Let's continue to run the ball and see if we can pop one of these. And at the very least, the next time we're in 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 6, they can't light up as wide on this defensive front because now they got to respect the run game up the middle because we just popped a 12-yard gate on a draw play on them. It's that element of it, of sticking to it, that allowed Cam to say, oh, okay. Now I understand how this is supposed to work.
Mm-hmm. I do have one question, man, when you're if it is Brian Daboll or Cliff Kingsbury too, because he's in this conversation as well. You mentioned what's his name? Thad Lewis also being part of this equation, and also Thad Lewis and again Green Bay's offensive coordinator is a part of this conversation.
Adam Stenavich, yep.
What is his name? Stenavich, former offensive lineman. We'll get to him too as far as how I feel about offensive lineman play callers. But the question I have Brian Daboll's offenses. They rush well, but it also comes through the legs of the quarterback. Is Cam reluctant to run because he sees himself as a thrower, or is he not elusive enough to run when it comes down to accumulating the rushing component of his game? Because when you look at, of course, Jackson Dart this past year, he got very tricky with legs, put himself in harm's way, got catapulted off the side because he was trying to run the football. That's the concern I have. How much does Cam want to run, and does Brian Daboll have that caveat in his offense, or does the offense drops back far enough to where that lane is always there and it's a quarterback option? Because again, when Cam did start to run the football well, I think the respect of him being a two-way player went up a little bit more to where guys started biting up and he was able to hit guys across the middle. They dropped the football from time to time, but that component of his game, I wonder where is he personally with that being a part of the conversation, because all the other quarterbacks in this offense do use their legs often.
100%. And that is the case for Jackson Dart. That is the case for Daniel Jones. That was the case for Josh Allen, of course, and for Jalen Hurts at Alabama when Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator for one season of the Alabama Crimson Tide in 2017. To that point, this season, Ramon, in terms of rushing offense, the New York Giants had the second most rushing attempts in the NFL. In 2022, they had the 8th most rushing attempts. It's interesting, though. He's not necessarily married to always being super run first. Like in Buffalo in 2020, Brian Daboll, that offense had the 17th most rushing attempts. There was a 20th rushing offense in the league. The next year, they were 13th in attempts, number 6 in rushing offense. I think what you see in Brian Daboll, Ramon, is adaptability and the ability to adapt to the skill set of the offense that he's given, whether that's Saquon Barkley running the football, whether that's Jackson Dart being an option threat, whether it's Jalen Hurts at Alabama or Josh Allen being kind of a mixture of a bunch of those guys. The common thread is quarterback development of athletes. All of his quarterbacks have been athletes. But I go back to what Jordan Raanan reported, ESPN.com New York Giants writer wrote, well, he tweeted it, but Adam Schefter is the one who said it last year, Ramon. Here's the thing I think that's meaningful. They tried hard to trade up for Cam Ward. The New York Giants did. And Adam Schefter reported that the Giants offered the Titans 2 first-round picks in order to trade up for Cam Ward, among other picks. That relationship that Brian Daboll has with Cam Ward is also a two-way street. Because right now, I think you can make the argument that Cam Ward's probably signed up for Brian Daboll, and Cam Ward probably knows Brian Daboll as much as he knows any offensive coordinator that's not coached him that's in the NFL right now. Like, of the coaches that were not on this coaching staff last season, Brian Daboll may be Cam Ward's biggest fan from what we know about him, from the style of personality that he has, and from how badly they coveted Cam Ward in the draft process last year.
Man, you bring up a point I think all of us have missed in this one, Will. Look at the big brain on Will, man.
Don't act so surprised.
I am. Because in the midst of all of this, we have forgotten that. The haul that they were trying to offer up to go draft him. You are 100% correct in that one. So if he doesn't get the Buffalo Bills head coaching job, Brian Daboll, that is, well, you've made the most valid point of it all when it comes down to him coming straight to Nashville. And I think that's crucial. That tells me that he's already thought of offenses that can work for Cam. It means it tells me like he's thought of a plan not just for him but the entire team because he was the head coach at that time too. So that's what when we bring up the conversation about Daboll and what he wants to do as a head coach with him, the plan's already set. Is the way I look at this one. Wow, well, I forgot all about that.
Is the Robert Saleh hire an A if Brian Daboll is the offensive coordinator? Yes or no?
From the fans, yes. From me,
from you,
no.
Okay.
From me, I give it a B minus.
B minus. That's lower than I expected.
Yeah, it's between a B and a B minus, just because he got to go prove it. I think from the fan base perspective, it's an A. I want to see, again, placed in this scenario, again, the same as it was the Jets, how he kind of bring that up. And I hate to give a guy an A just off of him walking in the building.
Sure.
You feel me?
Understandable. Coming up, the Cleveland Browns head coach search continues, and another name has just said thanks but no thanks to Cleveland. We'll dive into that coming up next.
What comes to mind when you think of home? Maybe it's meals around the kitchen table, movie nights on the couch, or the feeling of walking through the door and knowing you're safe. Home is where life happens, and at the center of it all is your home's foundation. At USS, they understand how important that foundation is to your life and how much trust it takes when you need help protecting it. January, we are finding out, is a wet month. We've seen this. We are experiencing it in real time. So when water starts showing up where it doesn't belong, in your basement or crawl space, it can quickly become a serious problem. And figuring out where the water is coming from, that can also be a nightmare. It can come from poor drainage, small cracks in your foundation walls, or even a hidden plumbing leak. But the USS team of experts will find out why your basement or crawl space is wet, then create a customized plan to fix it the right way and with a lifetime warranty. At United Structural Systems, they're more than a team of problem solvers. They are your neighbors, and they care about their customers. You can learn more about them, man, by simply going to their website at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 3. Mike Wilson going to stop by at 9:20 this morning. VolQuest's Mike Wilson, new dad, Mike Wilson,
New dad
as well. Ramon, another coach has said no to Cleveland. Quite honestly, if I took one look at Cleveland, I'd probably say no to him too, for more than one reason. Jaguars offensive coordinator Grant Udinsky has informed the Cleveland Browns that he is removing himself from consideration for their head coach position. Udinsky has a new deal in place with Jacksonville that will bump his pay for next season, but the Jaguars are allowing him to continue pursuing the Bills head coaching job. Adam Schefter says, if Udinsky doesn't get the Buffalo job, he will be back as the Jags OC. Tough times in Cleveland.
I mean, as a player, it can't make you feel good about it, but you'll be a good soldier and play under whoever the coach is. As a business, Will, you got to feel like the lowest of the low. Like, you got people calling you for a head coaching job and saying, nah, we're good, before even, to your point, seeing Cleveland, before even being courted and taken out to a nice steak dinner or Italian. You can go there if you want to also, or Chinese. It don't matter at this point, but people are telling you no, man. And hearing about what their process is as well, it's just so deflating you said this before break, Will. Writing essays?
Yeah. Apparently.
I graduated already. I'm not here to write a dissertation and tell you how good I am or how bad you are as a team. Like, you called me. You wanted me to come into town, and sitting down and writing anything other than plays and my plan for me as a head coach and where my staff is, it's just ridiculous. To me, it just signifies just like the unseriousness of what it means to be an NFL organization at this point. Like, I don't want to be overly disrespectful to him, but at some point you got to figure out what your calling card is going to be. Is it the field and the results of it, or is it the optics? As many coaches as they've kind of gone through at this point in time, they should have what they're looking for written down in a tablet themselves without asking the coaches to do this type of stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's Tom Pelissero who said, NFL Insider said, the Brown search process is unlike any other in the NFL, and it plays to certain types of candidates. They are a data-driven operation in Cleveland. They spend an extraordinary amount of time gathering data on their coaching candidates. You're talking about taking a personality test. You're talking about writing an essay. You're talking about completing homework assignments between the first and second rounds of interviews. It plays toward the types of candidates that they have in the mix, which is very smart people. Questionnaires, a multi-part essay, and a personality test, and additional homework assignments if you get through the first round and into the second round. Here's the problem with that, Ramon. If you are trying to attract a very smart person, a very smart coaching candidate is not going to sign up for the hell that is your quarterback situation.
No, they're not. They're not going to sign up for thinking that the smarts is the only thing that gets you in the door, right? They're not going to sign up for the instability of being in the coaching position where you may get fired. They're not going to sign up for having a GM that's going to undermine them and trade away a starter that you love going into the game plan that you were crafting in the middle of the week. They're not going to love the reputation that people know that you had to sit down and take the ACT to get that job. Like, that to me is where, like, you got to separate the game from the actual business. The game is run by people that understand the actual on-field game. Look at what happened in Seattle. They went to a guy that understood ball. You never hear Sean McVay speak as if he's writing a paper for the ownership. Now, when he talks ball, Sean McVay, it definitely sounds like he know ball. I shouldn't have to have that written down on paper, man. It muddies the waters into what you're asking me to do as a coach. Like, I always mention this, Will, when you're asking football people to do non-football stuff, like do homework between the first interview and the second interview, that just shows me you're not a part, like you don't know ball. Like, if the coach has to walk into the locker room and tell the players, pick up your dirty towel so the janitors don't have to, no, we're not talking about football at that point.
Right.
We got to focus on the game, and I think that's what they've strayed away from over these years.
So Adam Schefter says remaining Cleveland candidates include defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz,
Of course.
Commanders run game coordinator Anthony Lynn, former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken, who Ravens fans wanted fired at the end. That is a part of the reason why John Harbaugh got let go in Baltimore. And the guy I think is who they now go all in for, Ramon, Rams passing game coordinator Nate Shieldhouse. Right? Like, if you're going to go down this road and your options are either Jim Schwartz to stabilize things and still have a good defense, or you have the opportunity to just take a big swing, take a huge risk and go get the 30-year-old, never been an offensive play caller, but has the McVay stamp. Ramon, I think I'd rather take the risk if I'm Cleveland.
And take the young guy?
I think so. That's what I would do.
But here's the thing, though. If you are the young guy, are you just somebody that they can control? Will you get freedom to do what you actually want to do? Or are you just taking them because of the opportunity and everybody hoping that it works? Like, I know that's the role of it anyway, hoping that it works, though, Will. But picking the 30-year-old who's never been at the command of an entire team himself, like that, I know we all take these type of risks. But can Cleveland really afford this? Like, and I know their fan base is blindly loyal.
At this point, I don't know if they can afford to just have Jim Schwartz be a one-year stopgap, have him go 3-14 again, and make the job even worse. Right? Like,
yeah.
At some point, you're going to have to take the risk on the up-and-comer if you're Cleveland, because I don't see things. Your job is not going to be attractive anytime soon. Let's just put it simply that way. Yeah. So your best chance to get an up-and-coming offensive mind is by getting the most unproven one. Now, people that know Nate Shieldhouse and are smarter than me and are in the know say that the guy is a stud, apparently. But your only way you're going to get an up-and-coming genius offensive guru type is by getting one that has really no experience. Because anyone who does have experience is going to Buffalo, is going to Baltimore, is going to maybe Tampa next year. Like, you don't have the ability to be beggars or choosers. And it feels like they have too high of standards of what their job is. But it also sounds like they want the data-driven nerd. And getting a Sean McVay guy who has been a pass game coordinator and is 30 years old screams nerd and what that type is, what their type is more than any other candidate they've got at this point.
But here's the thing, though, too, Will. In that, I 100% agree with you on your point there. But that's just not the Cleveland way, though.
It sounds like it's becoming the Cleveland way, though, under Andrew Berry.
What I mean, and you know what? He might have to see himself out after this, though, too, because to me, Cleveland is a hard-nosed, dirty, just grind-out type of team. You know, like they are a grind and grit team, and changing that DNA, Will, to your point, it might take 5 more years to get that out if that's what they're looking for. Heck, I think the players that they draft are grind and grit guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that you don't have a quarterback, essentially, like you do have Shador and Dylan, but legit, and I thought Deshaun, but I just don't think that fits their type in general.
It's fair. I'm interested
to
see.
Look at Sean Payton last night and think about analytics and computers.
Right. And fair. But I'm interested to see how the AFC North does change now without John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin.
That's true.
I mean, do you have to continue playing the same style of football? I don't know that you do, honestly.
Baltimore when they got Jesse Minter to carry it on, though.
That's right. That's true.
That's the first cog in it.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about Mike McCarthy. Pittsburgh Steelers. Big hire made by Pittsburgh over the weekend. We'll continue reaction as well to conference championship games and get your thoughts at the FNM Bank chat. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. What's next for Pittsburgh with Mike McCarthy as the head man? We'll dive into that next.
901, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Patriots are AFC champions after defeating the Broncos 10-7 in a heavy snow-filled second half. The Broncos offense mustered just 32 yards of offense in the second half. Patriots quarterback Drake May threw for just 86 yards on the day, but had 65 yards on the ground and a score. The Seahawks are the NFC champs after they beat the Rams in a 31-27 thriller. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold threw for 346 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, outlasting the potential league MVP and Matthew Stafford, who threw for 374 yards and 3 scores. Super Bowl 60 is a rematch of Super Bowl 49 back in 2015, where the Patriots beat the Seattle Seahawks on a Malcolm Butler interception on the goal line. In other NFL news this morning, former Colts and Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers is withdrawing his name from the Bills' head coaching search, and Jaguars offensive coordinator Grant Udinski is withdrawing his name from the Browns' head coaching search, but will remain the Jaguars' OC unless he's hired as the Bills' next head coach. And the Titans today, they plan to interview former Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury and Packers offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich on Monday for their offensive coordinator job, per Tom Pelissero. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Oh, no.
Fourth and final hour on Ramon and Will. Glad you're with us and hope you are warm and staying safe this weekend. Ramon Foster up in humble Hendersonville. Will Bowling here in Midtown with Justin Hawkins across the glass. 615-737-1045. How you jump in? Ramon, with 1 hour to go, you sent us a picture of a drunk tree. Your words.
Yeah.
A lot of trees leaning out there that are not going to be able to pass sobriety tests this morning.
Well, cannot. I'm talking about leaning, Will, better than Young Dro out here, man. There's a tree across. Yeah, as a rapper, about 2006.
I
you know
figured.
the song, Shoulder Lean. Yeah, you've heard that before. You're more hip than you give yourself credit for, man. But there's a tree across the street. I'm a poet and didn't know it. That's leaning so hard right now. And I wish I had a GoPro that could show a time lapse if it does raise back up, because the way it's leaning right now with the weight of the ice on its leaves and stuff, because it's an evergreen, I don't see how it goes back up. I genuinely don't. But I've got a feeling that my tree, which is leaning or drunk, and the one across the street will as well. I'm very interested in these types of things right now. By the way, I had my internet provider also send me a text, and I don't know if they're gaslighting me or what, but the text read, as I pull it back up for a second, it reads, please provide feedback on your most recent experience with internet provider. And it gives me the rating from 0 to not likely at all to a 10. I want to put 0, but I also feel like that's inhumane to kind of do that considering what everybody's going through right now, Will. But why would you send me that if the internet's not back up? Like, my experience right now is pretty trash, but these are the breaks. And I'll also add this too. For all of the old school folks that say y'all shouldn't be going to those smart devices like cameras and doorbells and, smart thermostats, I get it now. Everything in my house is mostly on internet, and the fact that my internet is down, I need these things, I think, but I'm also of the mindset like, I kind of played myself here.
Well, I think the big question you've got to ask is, if you give your internet provider a 0 out of 10 approval rating, are they less likely to come out and help you? Right? Like, a lot of people, can you schmooze them a little bit? Can you give them like a 9? And then, you know what? We got to get to the Fosters first. They're pleased with their service. They are a happy customer. We got to keep them happy. Or, if you give them a 0, it's like, oh my gosh, Ramon's not happy. We got to get up to Simple Sumner and help him out.
It's one or the other at this point, but I'm afraid to actually tweet back at them or I guess message back from my 0 to 10 scale. I'll just say, you know what? I hope they're being safe out there and not putting themselves in harm's way, Will. I'll just leave it. I'll be the good guy this time.
Oh, so nice.
bombs.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are hiring Mike McCarthy, and I feel like, based on that sound and based off of what I've seen on social media, which again is not real life, but based on the internet, Ramon, you would think that this was Greg Schiano to Tennessee. You would think that this is just one of the most hated hires of all time. What was your reaction seeing this?
Is the fans got what they wanted. They wanted Mike Tomlin up out of there, and they got now white Mike Tomlin, the guy that's exactly like him. Hey, the Titans said they got the West Coast version.
White Mike Tomlin. Wow.
Titans fans say they got the brown version of Mike Vrabel. I mean, we got to be able to at least joke about these things. Well, I used to be. I know. I wait. I go to timeout real quick.
No, you're good. I didn't put you in timeout. I just laughed.
They got the same version of the coach they got rid of. But here's the thing. I said this, and I told you this. The coach that the Steelers were looking for isn't available. The guy's not there. The same way I feel about Baltimore and what Cleveland's looking for as well. Zach Taylor is as well in Cincinnati. Like, the identity that they may be trying to change in the AFC North wasn't available to you. I personally say this with all due respect, and I'm going to be very disrespectful after saying this, with all due respect. I think they hired McCarthy as a bridge coach in a sense. I think he's probably 2, maybe 3 years, and there's a reset to be had. You got to ask, I asked that question like, well, why did they go with him? Well, they went with him for stability. Well, here's the thing. You had stability with Mike Tomlin. You went with him because he has an identity. You had an identity with Mike Tomlin, except it's more on the offensive side, right? I saw some fans say that we wanted invigorating offense. We wanted new. Well, here's the thing. You're going to get that with Will Howard? Are you also going to go, shop again in free agency to the new available the new franchise quarterback?
Right.
Like, what are you asking Mike McCarthy to do? Pittsburgh's DNA is defense first, run the football second. Like, he's a variation of offensive, throwing the football around and running. Where's the defense? Who are you going to hire as the defensive coordinator? They got questions that you have to ask also, Will. Is Cam Hayward going to retire? Why? Because there's new change. He's, accomplished a lot of stuff with the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Does TJ Watt, going into his 10th or 11th year right now, that's yet to have any playoff wins? Does he ask to be traded this offseason? What do you do with Patrick Queen, which you've already had James Harrison on the podcast say they're letting go of Patrick Queen? Those are the things that you got to ask yourself. Right. Now, James Harrison may have spoken out of turn with that one, but these are the questions that happen when you make this type of change, man. I personally view this as a 2-year bridge-ish type of hire because the guy that they really wanted was not available. But whether Coach Tomlin decided he was done and caught them off guard, or they forced them out and thought they were going to find somebody else, I personally don't think it's there. I think Pittsburgh is due for a couple of lean years, man, to get back to where they once were.
Two things on that. Do you have a name in mind? Would you say the coach that they really wanted wasn't available?
No, and I had Brooke Pryor hit me up asking me that about an article. It was like right before New Year's. She wrote this big article about Coach Tomlin.
Sure.
And I told her, I said, at the time I said this, and it's in her article, I didn't think he warranted wanting to quit or be fired because the guy for the identity that they were looking for, I just didn't have a feel that he was available. And
so you're not thinking of any you don't think there's like a name they really wanted they just couldn't get. Like, you're not thinking of any specific candidate.
No, I feel like when there's a candidate available for that job, right? Like that particular job, you want to go to it. It's the same way I felt about Ben Johnson going to Chicago. You knew it was going to happen.
Fair.
Right.
In a lot of ways, Mike Vrabel would have been a really good fit in Pittsburgh.
Would have been, like
that personality that got a little bit of rust belt to him, like that kind of fit. And Mike McCarthy, to be fair, is a Pittsburgh guy.
He is a Yinzer all the way through and through. But here's the thing that I'm watching and is this. So it's two things of this. One, even the Pittsburgh fans don't like this. The people that are from Pittsburgh, don't try to make us feel good because he's a citizen of the city. He's a accomplished being of the city. The other part is this, and there's a point to be made there too. Mr. Rooney, Art Rooney, the team holding owner, came out and said this: we don't care about social media.
They also said they don't want.
Not real life.
They don't want to rebuild. Said they want to be competitive every year.
So where's the rebuild that has to happen? Because it technically happened under the Cowher when they went 6-10, and were able to draft Ben
Roethlisberger. Now, I mean, you're not benefiting from that anymore.
I know, but the point is, like, you say you don't want a rebuild. Well, you've already spent bukus of money this last cycle with going to trade for Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu, and you brought in Aaron Rodgers, and
for sure
there was a lot of that. So are you willing to pour more money back in to repeat this, except with an offensive head coach that is very similar and just the same as Mike Tomlin was?
Well,
not saying that Mike T didn't deserve to be let go or choose to walk away, but I thought you'd have a better answer for this coaching hire.
Well, and that to me is why I'm surprised they've essentially run it back with, to your point, someone very similar to Mike Tomlin. Mike McCarthy's floor is what, like 6-11 there? Of like the worst case scenario, as bad as he could be, is still probably a 6 or 7 win team, just inheriting the parts that are already there. There are veterans that you know who they are. There is leadership. There is a culture. It's not going to totally fall apart, but they also probably aren't going to be great. This team and this organization in Pittsburgh needs either a free agent class that just catches fire and hits. And that includes quarterback. That includes another edge rusher to help TJ Watt. That includes a number 2 wide receiver to go along with DK Metcalf. That includes probably a number 1 corner. Like, Ramon, you guys in Pittsburgh have a lot of premium needs that are hard to find in the mid to late part of every round. And Pittsburgh has been so solid that they are consistently picking between 15 to 25. That's a good way to live in the NFL if you have quarterback. They don't have a quarterback to elevate a solid team into a contending team, which is why I would have taken the risk on, again, the younger mind to say, hey, if this works, hey, we've got a guy that can always develop a quarterback. And we've got a coach, whether it had been Nate Shieldhouse, whether that had been one of the defensive candidates and they could have skipped the line for Jeff Hafley or for Jesse Minter. Minter would have been tough. I mean, Chris Shula sitting right there. Made a ton of sense, I thought, for this job. You get that guy paired up with an Arthur Smith, an offensive coordinator. Or you just hire Arthur Smith, which I think would have probably been maybe not better than Mike McCarthy. I think you could explain it making more sense, because then what's the negative side? Okay, well, if this guy crashes and burns and doesn't know how to be a head coach, now we go draft our quarterback. And now things are torn down to the studs enough to where now we don't have to go pay major money. We got major money, and we're going to draft a left tackle with the 6th overall pick, or we're going to go get a number 1 wide receiver with the 4th pick in the 2nd round. I don't know if you're ever going to have that opportunity with Mike McCarthy to really fix the foundation of what this roster needs to be as the Cam Haywards and TJ Watts start to get into the later stages of their careers. Cam Hayward's already there. TJ Watt's the next guy that's starting to get into the end in the twilight of his career at that position.
On top of both of your running backs are both free agents. Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Samuel, both free agents.
You don't have a quarterback.
You got that situation. TJ is aging. Look at the wide receiver. You mentioned getting the number 2. Heck, the best part of the team is the tight ends. And Darnell Washington is about to be a free agent himself. Then you mentioned Isaac Seumalo at left guard. He's also older, probably closer to retiring. Broderick Jones got to get back healthy. Like, they got a lot of questions that I don't think just bringing in Mike McCarthy is going to give them answers to, unless they are willing to say, we are okay with being bad for a few years. But here's a question. Does Mike McCarthy want that for himself and for the potential of being a Hall of Fame coach? I'm not calling him. I'm just saying his ability to win and put players in Pro Bowls and all pros. Like, I'm not willing to lose that much if I'm him.
Coming up, Mike Wilson of VolQuest will join us. Not only did Tennessee have a big win over Alabama to recap, he also, as a feature writer at VolQuest, Ramon, has a piece up at VolQuest.com this morning titled Inside Tennessee Bringing Mike Keith Home as the Voice of the Vols. It's very good.
I like that.
Very good stuff. We'll talk about that. We'll talk Tennessee hoops with Mike Wilson of VolQuest coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, we are dealing with some treacherous weather, man, and your plumbing, HVAC, or you might have an electrical issue in or around your home, man. I'm here to tell you that Hiller's the company to call, man. They're just simply good at what they do. I'll start with their techs, and it's because they're very, very professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And the cool thing is all background and drug screen as well. When they're on their way, and I know we're tired of waiting with this storm going on, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time. So you're not sitting around wasting any of your time. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years, so that means you can trust them, man. They have a long-standing just appreciation for your community and just doing good work, but they're also family-owned and operated as well. Their motto is, happy you'll be, the service is free. They believe in 100% satisfaction, man. If you're not satisfied with the work that they do, they'll either do as much as they possibly can to fix it for you or just give you your money. And the price you tell is the price that you'll actually pay, man. I trust personally, and you can too. To book with them or to learn more about Hiller, simply go to happyhiller.com.
Ramona Will continues at 104.5 The Zone in hour number 4, shifting gears to a little bit of Vols conversation. We are pleased to be joined this morning by not only a new dad, but a new VolQuest writer. Everything is coming up Mike Wilson in the year 2026. Mike, welcome back. Good morning. How are you? It is great to have you back on as VolQuest's Mike Wilson today.
Man, it feels so right. And, I think part of me wanted to take like a month off for some paternity time just so I could feel this moment of coming back on the radio with you guys.
I'm glad. I'm very glad. Of course, we've had you on quite a bit over the years, and we'll continue to. And now you're part of the VolQuest family. I did tell Ramon, I told Mike that him and Grant Ramey on the same team is like the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade alley-oop picture. And I don't know, like, are you guys, how has it felt being on the same team now as Grant R. in Blount County, as he's affectionately known on this radio show, Mike?
Well, there were a lot of positives about joining VolQuest throughout all the conversations, but, every job has its drawbacks. And this was the negative about this job opportunity with the great team at VolQuest is I do now have to work with Grant Ramey on a daily basis. I think he is probably the most hurt by this because he no longer can refer to me as his workplace proximity associate. I think now we are full-fledged work wives.
Work wives is right. Absolutely love it. Well, in all seriousness,
you know what they say though, right? I was going to say, everybody got something dirty about their job. This is just your dirt right here.
Grant Ramey is the dirty.
Grant Ramey.
Yeah, that's right. I think Grant responded with something like, no, you are BJ and Justin Upton, Melvin Upton, at the end of his Braves career.
I'm Kate Upton. It's fine.
Kate Upton. Okay, good. Fantastic. Wow. Mike, Tennessee improved to 1-0 in G League play over the weekend with a win over Alabama. What'd you like the most about their performance Saturday night?
Obviously Nate Ament, the scoring was great, but I thought it was more of how he scored. There was a play right early out of the halftime break where I think he started on the wing, hesitate, quick dribble, and pulled up right near the free throw line. But his defender was like 4 feet away. Like the way that Nate had created that space and hit that high release jumper, like the stuff that you saw in that game was a lot of the stuff that we saw this summer from Nate in practices. There's a lot of hype around Nate for good reason, the ranking, but also what everyone saw this offseason. And that was the stuff you saw. You saw that high release jumper from the baseline from like 15 feet. You saw the 3-point shot be reliable. And that was all kind of put together in that Alabama game. It was just the way that he managed the floor. Like he found his spot, he found his space, he created that space, he played with more physicality. I thought, again, 29 points is massive. Like that's a huge development. But to me, it was more of how Nate went about scoring, and that's what gives you this hope of, okay, what's next for Tennessee if that's the Nate Ament they're going to get.
And Mike, what do you think clicked for him? Is it the Florida game, the Texas A&M performance, something from practice, or just the coaching that Rick Barnes has given him? Because I think a lot of people just kind of gave up and washed their hands of like, all right, he's not going to be the Dalton Connect, Chaz Lanier equivalent, but maybe Jacoby Gillespie is. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a Tennessee team where, Mike, I know it's unfair to totally compare him and Dalton Connect. They're not the same maturity levels in terms of just human beings. And how could they be? He's 18. Dalton was at the end of his college career. Nate's kind of at the very beginning. But at the same time, I'm watching this game Saturday night thinking that looked a little bit like Dalton Connect.
I mean, I don't know exactly what clicked. I mean, it could be that I came back to work. I don't know.
That helps.
I'm not taking the credit here, but I'm just saying Nate's best game was my first game back. No, I think it's just learning to play within his strengths, and within his position. Rick Barnes has talked a lot about this. This is the first time he's played the 3. Like, he's not used to playing in the wing. He's been a 4 throughout most of his career, but he's going to be a 3 more at the next level, and he's playing 3 here. So he's playing on that perimeter, playing on that wing, and so you're learning a new position. You're learning to play against smaller, physical, faster guys that are guarding you, and there's been an adjustment period. And you're referencing Chaz Lanier, Dalton Connect. They both played 4 years of college basketball.
Right.
Like, they'd experienced the things. Nate Ament's learning those things on the fly. And I think what's so exciting when you reference Jacoby too is you're seeing the 1-2 punch right now. Like that's the 1-2 punch that Tennessee has to have and has needed all along. Like those are the two that are going to carry them where they go. Like however good they are is how good Tennessee can be, and it was always going to be that way. And you saw the really good version of that the other day.
We're joined by Mike Wilson of Vol Question on 3 this morning discussing UT basketball. Mike, when you look at them going into the Lions Den of Alabama, the rivalry itself, and also just having Thomas, how do you say, Bediako also being
Charles
a part
Bediako
of this equation too. Bediako, sorry, I hate when people mess up my name. My bad, Thomas. Charles, my bad. With that being said, what was the mindset of this team when you look at that task in front of it as well? And also the standing ovation. I didn't know if this team was built to handle that, to be quite honest with you, Mike.
Yeah, and that's a fair question. You know, when Rick Barnes talked about it last week, it was just like, yeah, we're going to play Alabama. Like, not a lot changes. Like, it's not like their system changed with Charles Bediako coming back. Like, yeah, they ran some lobs, they ran some stuff for him, but it's not like they did anything wholesale different. I would like to think, and I would assume that somewhere in there, there's we're not gonna lay down for this. Like, we're gonna stand up and, you know, Will made the joke, beat a G League team. Like, that's, you know, there's always gonna be a little chip extra there. There's gonna be a little motivation there of trying to handle that. And I thought those things Tennessee said publicly were great. I thought the way they handled the situation was really good. And then you go out and win, which probably was the most important thing. So there's no question afterward of the validity, the significance. Like, it happened. Like, Tennessee won. So it kind of doesn't matter that a G League player, former G League player, played in that game. Tennessee got the win, and that's all that matters on their end.
When you look at the rest of this wave, man, one thing I've seen is the SEC is full of tall trees, man. These guys are big. Florida's got a big team. Kentucky, like we all across the board, they got big players, man. How much has to be had from guys from Felix Park, J.P. Estrella, and also Jalen Carey, and the young freshman too, Dwayne Brown, to kind of keep the pace of what everybody else is able to do? Because those guys can go missing from time to time or just not be as offensive as you need them to be while scoring.
Yeah, you know, when Rick Barnes built this roster, you could see the concerted effort to build a front line that could match up with what Florida had last year, with what Auburn had last year. Because Tennessee didn't have that last year. They had Felix Akpar and Cade Phillips, and that was it. So they went out and tried to build something better, and they did. They got JP back. They brought in Dwayne Brown. They got Jalen Carey out the portal. And it's worked for the large part up to this point, but it hasn't necessarily been consistent. I thought the way JP closed the game the other day was incredibly encouraging. He had 3 rebounds, like the final 80 seconds, including, I think, 2 defensive ones. And that's kind of where he hasn't done as well rebounding the ball. That was a huge sign. And Rick Barnes talked about it. He said the starting 5 in that game, which included JP, was the lineup they thought they would have going into the year. And we saw that in the offseason. Like, JP kind of worked at the 4 a little bit as a real viable option there. Jalen Carey made some winning plays. To me, Felix Akpar is the guy that's got to bring it every game right now. He's too good. Like, he is defensively, especially. Like, he can guard around the whole court. He's got to do that. And got to be more consistent because he's supremely talented, but doesn't show it every game. And I thought late last season, like when Tennessee beat Kentucky and stuff in the tournament, like, he was playing really good basketball. And he's the senior. He's the post guy. He's got an opportunity to close the year really well, and I think that's in front of him. But it's got to be more consistent because that group is talented. That group's deep. It's got a lot of options, but you want to see guys like that play their best late.
Mike Wilson of AllQuest, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Mike, I loved the big men feeding other big men in this game. It's specifically the 2 out of bounds plays where Tennessee has it was Jalen Carey on one play and J.P. Estrella on another, lobbing it for Felix Akpara. And maybe that takes a little bit of the pressure off Jacoby Gillespie to always have to be the one to find the big man inside. Mike, I feel like this was happening a lot in kind of the G5 games or the non-power opponent games early in the season when Tennessee just had a clear size advantage and could do whatever they want inside. they finally got back to it in this game a little bit. What do you think was kind of behind that? And is that something you'd like to see Tennessee do more to get their big men more involved offensively?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pivotal to all of it. I think there was always a reality with this team that a lot more was going to operate inside out. And, you know, I mean, you're asking about lob type stuff, but like, I think running that offense through the post is something you've seen so much with Rick Barnes earlier in his tenure. And obviously with Dalton Connect, Chaz Lanier, like, you don't run the offense through the post with those guys. You give them the ball and get the heck out the way. And that's just not this team. It's got to operate a little bit differently, a little bit more operationally, I guess is just the word you look for. And it works. Like this team does have post scorers. Like Jalen Carey's been a guy they've thrown the ball down to. JP Estrella certainly is gifted offensively. Dwayne Brown can score the ball. So you've got options there, and you can use them all differently. And I think the production has been there at points, more so as you referenced earlier in the year. I mean, JP especially, you talk about his first few games, that was huge. But, yeah, I mean, that's an option for Tennessee, and that's something that's different is they have the ability to score in the post that they didn't really have last season and had somewhat the year before, you know, Jonas Adu on that team. So it is a different look and a different feel for this team, I think.
Oh, one more on hoops before I turn it over to Ramon to ask about the feature you wrote at VolQuest with the guy that Ramon calls football games with. His name is Mike Keith. Mike, it's interesting in a lot of the conversation about Rick Barnes, it feels like after a loss, fans are quickly, again, as always, going to, Rick's probably about done, or, you know, this may be it after the season. And I'm not going to ask you whether, you know, you think that's true or not, because to me, Mike, like, I almost feel more confident he's going to stick around for a few more years when I watch Amari Evans, when I watch Bishop Boswell, when I watch Dwayne Brown, when I look at this young core. And we talk with Ron Slay of Fridays at 9:20 about, like, part of the gaps in this team are because Cam Carr left and BJ Edwards is a guy that left, and some of the guys that transferred out where you don't have that built-in core of veterans to just pick up where the other veterans left off. Mike, it feels like they're developing and creating a new core of 3 and 4 year players. And no, they're not going to get Zakai Ziegler ever again because that guy's a one of one. But like, how encouraged are you in the young foundation and maybe some of the signs of this young class that this team has shown so far?
Yeah, I mean, real quick on that too. Bishop Boswell was huge at Alabama, and Rick Barnes putting him back in with 2 fouls is what I wrote about after the game because that changed the game. You can make a viable argument that if Rick didn't put Bishop back in with 9 minutes left in the first half, Tennessee doesn't win the game because they were down 9 and they were not playing well. He comes back in. When he came back out, they were down 3. I think a lot of people criticize Bishop, and I thought he made a ton of winning plays the other day, and he's continued to do that more and more. But on that young guy note, what's been really cool, I think, to see is the freshman class was Nate Ament and some other guys, right? Like that's what you hear about. You hear about Nate Ament and the freshman class. The rest of the freshman class looks, as you're saying, like a core. Dwayne Brown, Amari Evans, Troy Henderson, all fit. Like those are guys that fit what you're used to seeing from Rick Barnes. The toughness, the grittiness, the way they play the game, the hustle. Like those are guys that you're used to seeing. Like the personality types on the court. And that's been really cool. I think seeing the rest of that freshman class really solidify, and what you're saying, like those aren't one and done guys. Like those are guys you expect to be here for multiple years and can really be something. And I think Amari Evans' development might be the most exciting thing that's happened on this team this season because I think he's way ahead of schedule. And that's changed this team with being able to put him in the court like they do.
Talking to Mike Wilson this morning of All Question on 3. Mike, we had Brent Hubbs on last Friday. He said something that was very, I thought, high praise to you. It's like whenever you decide to write and storytell, it's not just something that's simple. He said all of y'all can be in the room and take the same information, but you come out with something totally different and innovative that they don't. And I think you did this, man, with this Mike Keith story with Alicia Longworth and how they, how she courted him to come over to Vol Network. What was that conversation like for you, man, to pull that out of her? Because she's very tight with her information, man.
Well, first off, that's kind of Brent. I wanted to do the story for a while because I could tell head coaching search vibes, right? Like, the voice of the Vols is a really significant position. It's a historical position, and you remember when Bob Kessling retired last November. You're thinking, well, there's one name, right? Like there's a name that's got to be at the top of the list, and it's Mike Keith, and that's who they got. And I wanted to know how, and it pretty quickly pointed me that this was Alicia Longworth's doing, and Alicia Longworth is probably the queen of I don't deserve attention, don't look at me, I didn't do it, I just did my job. And those are some of my favorite people to write about. I love writing about people that don't believe they deserve the spotlight, but are actually tremendous at their job. And the more I talked to Alicia, the more I talked to Mike, the more it was clear, like, Alicia handled this search and this process to bring Mike Keith back to Knoxville with incredible professionalism, incredible savvy, and just absolutely, she read it perfectly and delivered. And to me, that was kind of the story was, yeah, Mike Keith loves this job, loves Tennessee, loves everything about the voice of the Vols, but it was the work Alicia did kind of in the background to pitch him, to sell him, and to get him to take the job at the end of the day. And it's kind of a 6-month deal, and she ran it all and did it masterfully.
It's really well done. Really well done. Yeah. Go ahead, Ron. Ramon. I was looking at Ron's name in the YouTube chat. Go ahead, Ramon.
You got his name wrong.
That's
just like
crazy.
People do earlier. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I was just going to add to it is what's fascinating. She said they negotiated in plain sight because nobody would have associated her with the University of Tennessee at the time. I just thought it was great detail to the story. If y'all hadn't or don't subscribe to VolQuest, I'm telling you right now, go do it because I think Brent Hubbs is absolutely right. I pictured everything that you wrote in that article, and he gave you a lot of credit. You deserve it, Mike, is what I wanted to add to it.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And I do think what you're saying, Alicia Longworth likes to be anonymous, and I thought she used it as a weapon to recruit Mike Keith. Like she turned that into an asset. I think Mike Keith said it. He's like, we basically disappeared in public. And I thought that was just an incredible explanation of how the process went down. Like they were talking in plain sight, but yeah, Alicia handled it like a pro.
Mike Wilson, the ultimate pro. New dad, new VolQuest writer, the year of Mike Wilson. Well underway. Mike, great to have you back on again. In all seriousness, congratulations on all the successes. You deserve it. You're crushing it. Go subscribe to VolQuest. Another reason for our listeners to go hit you guys up. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, Will and Ronald.
Appreciate it, Mike.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
Mike
love
Wilson.
That.
Slay in the chat says, it's okay. That's my brother. That's why we call each other Savage.
This is very true.
I love it. We've had so many moving parts today. It's honestly incredible. Something like that didn't happen earlier. So wait until the final hour to have the wheels fall off.
Easy. You know what? It might as well start it off like that or end it like that. We're close to the end now.
That's right. That's right. All right. On the way out, final segment. I got a shout out to give to an athlete from Nashville who represented Nashville over the weekend, who you're going to hear a lot more about. I'll tell you what I mean next. Wrapping up the show in Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV. I can confirm, Ramon, I've got eyes on Lucas Panzica and Robert Walsh.
They made it in.
They have made it. They made it about an hour ago, actually. They've been around. Yep.
Good stuff, man. Man, I appreciate you guys.
That's right. Oh, man, how about this headline? I hadn't seen this. Oh, this happened 1 minute ago, so of course I hadn't seen it. The Atlanta Falcons just hired Craig Ackerman as their special teams coordinator. Yeah. I can hear through the pixels of your voice that delayed. Still, I can still tell your disappointment in the Atlanta Falcons, respectfully.
To the end of the show to get
all right. Yeah, we made it 4 hours. I know. I apologize for how it sounds, but this is all we got today, guys. That's okay. It's all good. Ramon, we cannot hear you.
Get mad at X-Fan.
There you go. Now he's back.
At least we get to look at his pretty picture on
back?
the stream.
Yeah, you're back.
You're back like you never left.
I'm back. Okay.
I got a quick shout out to give.
Godfrey on to get his opinions.
Sure. Yeah, on all things Falcons and college football.
Absolutely.
We can do that. I got a shout out to give on the PGA Tour yesterday. We were well represented in Nashville. Scotty Scheffler won the American Express for his 20th PGA Tour title. 18-year-old Blades Brown shot a 60 at the American Express over the weekend. He played 8 straight days of golf. Blades Brown from Nashville, Tennessee, played golf at Brentwood Academy. His mom, Rhonda, a great basketball player for Vandy, great girls basketball coach at Brentwood Academy, WNBA player. The first WNBA player, by the way, to ever hit a three-pointer, Rhonda Brown, his mom. Blades Brown crushed it. And I believe finished tied for 18th in this tournament, got the sponsor exemption, and he flew from the Bahamas on Wednesday to La Quinta, California on Thursday, and played the next day after finishing the Korn Ferry Tour event on Wednesday. He was in a final pairing or final group with Siwoo Kim and Scotty Scheffler. The final pairing that was off, he was tied with Scotty going into yesterday's competition. Blades Brown is an awesome, awesome representative of this city, and you're going to be hearing that name quite a bit. He is a stud, an absolute stud, and it was not the last time we're going to see him in contention on a Sunday in the PGA Tour. So shout out to Nashville's own Blades Brown with an excellent showing at the American Express on the PGA Tour over the weekend.
Can we also add him to the all names team too? Blades Brown. I mean,
we can.
Golly. What a heck of a name, man. But by the way, I mean, just congratulations on that. To be so young, to be able to be in that position right there and just hold your own, to have the mindset and the athletic talent to pull it off too. You said how old? 16?
18.
18. Okay, 18. Either way, to be holding your own with those types of pros, man, and handle that travel schedule, a lot of is asked of you in those situations. That's a major salute and congratulations finishing where he did and just accomplishing that too. What an experience, Will.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. So very happy for him. Great family. From everything I've heard, great guy, and certainly an excellent representative of the city. But he crushed it over the weekend. Meanwhile, Scotty Scheffler won again. It's Groundhog Day. He joined Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods as the only players to have 20 PGA Tour titles and 4 majors before turning 30. Insane.
He's on a heater is what you're telling me, Will. Golf in a good place?
I think so. And I think he's a big reason why. And people will make the argument like, oh, but it's boring as much as he's winning. I think that golf benefits from having a face of the sport that is so historically excellent. I saw this this morning, and going a little bit in the weeds here, but Jason Sobel is a host of SiriusXM PGA Tour and golf analyst for CBS, said the OWGR point differential, like in terms of the ratings, like the rankings where these guys are, between Scotty Scheffler as the world number 1 and Rory McIlroy as the world number 2. The point difference, like average points between those two guys in the world rankings points, is the same point difference between Rory McIlroy at number 2 and the player, Ramon, that is ranked 677th in the world.
Wow.
That is how much better Scotty Scheffler is than the rest of the world at golf right now.
I mean, seriously. He's carrying the torch right now, man. I mean, they were looking for another guy. I think they were looking for Tiger level excitement or whatever the case may have been.
Always.
No, just be good. Just be good. That's all you're asking him to do.
Yeah, easy, right? Scotty Scheffler, Kyle Porter put this out there. Since July, players he has lost to, 0 at the Open, 2 players in Memphis,
Wow.
0 at BMW, 3 at the Tour Championship, 0 at Napa, 3 at the Hero World Challenge, and 0 in Palm Springs. In the last 6 months, Scotty Scheffler has lost to 8 people. 8 people.
Jeez. I wonder, does he have that Tiger effect where people see him coming and they like cower to the idea that he's going to win?
Yes. I can tell you 100% they do. Siwoo Kim was quoted the last time he was in a final pairing with Scotty, said, by hole 7, I felt pathetic.
Jeez.
Incredible.
He bigger than Debo right now. You know what I'm saying? He got mind control over these dudes at this point.
Yeah, he's legit. Tonight, Ramon Foster, I hope everyone with power or on their smartphones is on ESPN because our very good friend Ron Slay is on the desk in Bristol, Connecticut this evening. The Big Mickey tonight for some big basketball. AJ DeBanza in action. Big one for BYU tonight. There is like high level big Monday college hoops going on tonight that you need to be locked into to see Ron Slay.
And Savage, man.
Uh-oh. It's a tough way to end.
Well, we tried.
We tried. Ramon, you're robot again, so we're going to close the show there. Tune in tomorrow morning. We're back at it, 6 a.m. Your Twitter fingers and your mic are always hot unless your mic is slowed down by internet. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.